it stops, no one knows. We're going headed into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Hello, everybody. Happy 2024. Hi, Malicious Intent. It's good to see you.
Hello, Teresa. Thank you for having me. Hi, guys.
Thank you for joining me. Well, hello, everybody in chat, and happy second day of our new year. I'm probably going to mess up that date for a little while, like I always do every year. Hi, Judy. What's up, Crafty Chris? Hey, Sarah. Hi, Robin. Digido. Hey, Missing Unsolved Crime. Hey, Sees Through. Hi, Robin. Hi, my Shebe. Hi, Nancy. Cool gamers in the house. What's up, Delaja? Hi, Carla Faye. Malicious Intent. You said hi, everybody.
That was me.
Hey, KO. Yep, 10K, baby. Hi, Carla. I already said hi to Carla, didn't I? Yeah. Hi, Kel. Hi, Petunia. Hi, Dina. ATS. Hi, ASMR Tingle Pink. K Breeze. What's up, Lynn? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Hey, Art of Deduction. Happy New Year to you. See, Dub. Hi, All Eyes on Delphi. Marissa. Take care, Mama. Look, oh, it's so good to hear your voice, Mallory. Mine, not so much. Justice Seeker. So this is going to be more, this is just kind of more chillaxed, just, you know, going into the new year. Let's see what we got. All the upcoming stuff we're going to have coming this year when it comes to justice for so many people. Let's just keep our fingers crossed that everything stays on the docket the way that it is currently. And
you
we'll
jinxed
have,
it.
knock on wood. There you
I
go.
know.
I devoted to Mariah. Thank you. So this is also going to be a little bit more interactive. So if you guys have info that you want to share or updates that you know of that maybe we don't, because obviously this is a lot of cases that we're going to be looking at. So I don't remember all the information. I know that my brain is full of a lot of Delphi right now. So I also have the lovely Mallory to help with some of the info that she knows, and she can help with that too. So without further ado, I will bring up. So if you guys don't know, one thing that I do pretty consistently, I would say somewhat, is I try to keep track of all the trial dates. Anything of cases that this channel follows, or like, you know, the close channel, the close people to the channel, if they're following it, and just trying to keep track of what is, you know, what's coming up and what hearings are happening and so on and so forth. I will post it in the Facebook group. If you guys aren't a member of the Facebook group, I always post it in there, like the updates. And so I just updated the new one for 2024. So I'll put that in there too. And I do try to also put it on the community wall so that you guys can see, you know, what's going on. ATS, can't wait for the Chris Watts stream in a little bit. Chris Watts.
Oh.
Happy New Year, Violet. Happy New Year, water loving dog.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get back into the swing of things. So just.
This will help.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I was like, oh, perfect timing.
I was like, come with me.
Yeah.
Come with me. So some of these are bigger cases that you guys will, automatically recognize. Some of them you're going to be like, I don't remember that, or I kind of remember it. There's obviously a lot of cases, so we're going to try to go through them efficiently but quickly, so that we can try to get through all of them. Hi, Jeanette. So I think this one, I think most people are probably familiar with, but if not, we can go through a little bit of the updates and things. I'm just checking chat. Serendipity says Montgomery trial is already getting me angry. Well, there's an update from that today too that Shay Benet sent me, so we'll look at that too when we get to him. Hi, Kay. Okay, here's the deal, Kay, and I'll be extremely honest with you. I don't care if people like me or don't like me. It's not going to change anything. So if he gets mad at me or doesn't get mad at me, I'm still going to be me. And I believe, and I try, I'm not always successful, but I do try to spread kindness every time I'm on here, in the hopes that maybe a little bit of it'll rub off on you guys, and then you guys can kind of find some middle ground of tolerating each other. That's really all it is. People get mad at me a lot. I've lived, and people have gotten mad at me my whole life. That's just kind of how, it's how it goes. Some people like me, some people don't. Can't really do anything about it.
People, it goes back and forth too. So
right. So I just don't. That's why I don't block people on the channel. I really just like having people in here that can just talk and contribute, and I have nothing against anybody. So that's kind of where I stand with it. So that's where I'm at. Amen. All right. I think most of you guys know about this case. So Lori Vallow already went to trial in April of 2023. We covered that very extensively on the channel, and she was found guilty of, first degree for JJ and Tylee. She was also found guilty of conspiring with, ultimately her brother Alex and her then husband, or her future husband at the time, I guess, to kill his wife Tammy Daybell. Now it's going to be Chad's turn. So there's an interesting turn of events that Lori got. Had the ability to not have the death penalty on the table for her, and it was essentially due to the prosecution error, and she did not want cameras in the courtroom, so they fought against it. So the two big differences now are that Chad Daybell, we're actually going to be able to watch his trial. It'll
live.
Be streamed. It'll be streamed, I believe, similar to like Letitia Stauch's trial, by court cameras, versus they're not going to have like court TV in there streaming it. They're going to have just like the inner court cameras are going to stream it. So that's going to be different. Plus, he is actually up for the death penalty, and the most recent update on that was that they requested to have that removed, and the judge denied it, said nope, not going to happen. Yeah. So he's still going to be eligible for the death penalty. Now, what does that mean? Will he get it? No, obviously he's got to be found guilty, and then he's got to go through sentencing and so on and so forth. But two pretty big differences in what's happening with that. Idaho for Daybell. Yep. So that was a big change that happened in 2020. I think the beginning of 2023 was that Idaho was one of the first states, because they don't have the medicines to. No, it's not medicine. I guess the medication.
The medication or the medical cocktail used for lethal injection, they ran out of certain aspects of that cocktail. So they have not, I want to say it's been a while. There's a lot of people on death row in Idaho that they keep having to push off because they don't have the medical cocktail there to be able to do it humanely. Which is also, I think, one of the reasons why they originally brought back the firing squad in Idaho, which everyone was like, oh, it was for Brian. But I think it's because they needed another way to follow through with the death penalty, unfortunately.
Right. Because they're backlogged at this point. So
right.
Yeah, that sounds terrible when it comes to like human life, but that's kind of just what it is. Yeah. So as of right now, and I do not believe there's going to be any pushback on this, his trial date is starting on April Fool's Day of 2024.
Well,
I don't have Tammy's picture. I need to add Tammy's picture to this. Get rid of her. But he, so he is charged with the murder of his wife, Tammy, and JJ and Tylee, and it's a conspiring charge. It's conspiring with Alex, which was Lori's brother, who's passed away, and conspiring with Lori, which she was already found guilty of. So, all right. Well, speaking of her, she was now recently transferred down to Arizona, where she is charged with conspiring once again with her brother Alex to kill her then husband Charles Vallow. These are the ones. This couple is the one who adopted JJ when they were married. So there's not a trial date yet set, but they're discussing that it would probably be by September of 2024, based on her right to a speedy trial and what they can get together by that time.
So his sister is Woodcock, right?
His sister is Kay Woodcock.
Yes. Okay.
Kay Woodcock's son is the one who had JJ. It's right. His. So that's why Kay is JJ's grandma.
Right.
And then they were actually raising JJ for a little while. Larry and Kay were, and they wanted to adopt him, so they let them adopt him.
Okay.
So a side update is both JJ and now Tylee's remains have been released back to the family. JJ's was already done, and now Tylee's is being released to Colby, her brother, as next of kin. The bodies had not been released for all these years. They kept them, so they can finally be laid to rest now.
Do you know what the family plans to do? Have they talked out publicly about that? Whether they're going to lay them to rest together, if there's a family plot somewhere or something like that?
I have not heard either way. I know that Kay's pretty active on Twitter. Colby used to be very active on social media until the falling out with his wife and all that kind of, he had started a YouTube channel about their just life in general. Yeah. And but I think with the trial with his mom and the fallout with his own wife, it just he doesn't really post much anymore. Not on Instagram that I've even seen.
And I was gonna say, I felt like he's been lately posting a little bit more on Instagram, but it's literally just him and his kids. It's not about the case, it's not about Tylee, it's not about JJ, it's not about his mom, it's literally just his life with the kids. Because the other day I saw a video of him dancing with them around Christmas. I don't remember what it was exactly, but it popped up and I was like, who is this? And I was like, oh, it's Colby. Okay. So.
Hi, hybrid. Larry and Kay are super cool. Cool as fuck. I do. I'm a big fan of theirs. Well, I think that they just have been through so much and they just don't quit. It's an admirable quality about them.
Yeah.
Annie from Analytics, she's now a Murderous Heart. She hasn't been Analytics for a long time. She has a channel called A Murderous Heart. Is the sister of Joe, which was Lori's third husband and Colby's adopted dad.
Yeah.
So, right. And then, Joe also passed away, and Joe's death was ruled natural, and so was Alex's. And not many believe that that's the case. Yeah, no. JJ was cremated. Kay and Larry are gifting vials with JJ's ashes to close friends. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. I've always felt it would be very weird to be cremated and put into different places. I don't know why. It's just that's a personal thing, kind of just freaks me out. Then you're all over. I don't know. maybe I don't know if it matters because it's not you anymore. So
Yeah.
I believe Lily killed Joe. So does Annie. Yeah, I do. I really adore Annie a lot. She is one smart lady.
Scary smart.
Yeah, she's a very intelligent lady. So that one's supposed to be by September of 2024 at this time. And that's where we're at with that. I don't know if I have to go too much into detail about this one since I've been covering this one so much.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, Richard Allen's trial for the Delphi murders of Abby and Libby in 2017, his trial is set for the end of October of 2024. There is obviously the motion or the hearing that's going to be happening on January 18th, which I do believe we can stream, and I will be streaming it if I can get confirmation, where the attorneys are going to be in front of the Supreme Court. You guys are funny. Like, never heard of this one. Yeah. Freaking case.
What was the thing that came out today about Delphi?
Oh, the judge. So
Yeah.
she was appointed to the Allen County Superior Court, which is interesting. So she was already being looked at to be promoted, I guess, or like I have to kind of I haven't had a chance to really look too much into it. I don't know if they have a rotation, but I know that when she was put on Delphi, because she was a special judge that was picked to do Delphi, she was being looked at to be a Supreme Court justice. Now, so I can pull it up real quick. Hold on, let me just grab it.
So is this going to anyway, though, just kind of...
No, but it's making it seem like, okay, well, if she now has this, is the Idaho, gosh darn it, is the Indiana Supreme Court going to even care? Like, now she's just going to get away with whatever she wants to get away with because now she's going to be an Allen County court superior judge. Hold on.
Gotcha. Just kind of ups the ante of
what really is going to happen.
Potential to do.
Well, I think this was already in the works anyway. I don't know if there was like a time frame on it. I already have this article up. Why can't I find it now?
Because it's with the 50,000 other articles you have up.
I tried to close as much as I could, and that's one of the. I actually closed this one. Ironically. Where is it? Okay, that's weird. Maybe because I'm not in the right place where I put it. That makes more sense.
Lawyers are saying this new position is not an honor. It's just more admin work and paperwork, and the judges do share this position / rotate.
Okay, they do. That's what I was wondering. I'll pull it over here real quick. So she'll serve as the next Superior Court Chief Judge. Allen Superior Court's Board of Judges has elected a new Chief Judge, rounding out the leadership team that will guide the court for the next 2 years. Judge Francis Seagull will serve a 2-year term as the court's Chief Judge beginning on January 1st, 2024. Chief Judge has certain leadership and administrative responsibilities, including overseeing Board of Judges meetings, signing the court's annual budget, and representing Allen County on the Judicial Conference of the Indiana Board of Directors. In Allen County and across Indiana, the courts have never been busier, Judge Gold said. While that makes our daily tasks tougher, the same challenge gives us an opportunity to help people restore lives and break cycles of substance abuse and crime on an unprecedented scale with a mix of innovation, compassion, and respect for the law. Allen Superior Court, I can't. Allen Superior Court is equal to the challenge. In addition to the chief judge position, Superior Court judges recently elected divisional and so that's their team. It doesn't. It's the only impact I could see is that they feel like she's more respected now.
By who?
I don't know. Same people? I don't know. The other part could be that maybe she's like, she's busy. like, you know, she's gonna be even busier now. Like, she struggled to sign off on anything when it came to the Delphi case.
Right.
She hardly reviewed motions. She didn't. It's such a disaster. So maybe she'll just be too busy, and she'll be like, I have to recuse myself because, you know, with all the stress and all the, I don't know.
Go back to her. I was in the hospital 3 months ago, so I better put that out there for everyone to know.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I was in the hospital 3 months ago, and now I'm going to add more stuff to my plate. Yeah, so, no, you can like her. I don't know her personally. She could be a really great lady. She's probably a great mom, great grandma. You know, she just irks me. I was like, really like, okay, we're going to have somebody who's on top of the shit, and she's going to do what needs to be done. And then I'm like, but she doesn't take care of it.
Yeah.
So that's where my frustration with her is. She's probably a great lady. I have nothing against her personally. I just wish that she would have. I just wish things would have gone very different
with a very high profile case.
Yeah, more thorough.
Correct.
Yeah. Hi, Travis. Okay, so that's the update there. So we'll wait until the 18th. The hearing is on the 18th at the Supreme Court. Richard Allen is his defense attorneys and stuff do not need to be there. Doesn't include them. It's going to be for Kara and Mark that are going to be actually taking care of this hearing. So, and then Judge Gold's attorneys. Enough on that one. We talk about that one quite enough.
Ooh.
Here's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be more transparency from Gold. I think we can all agree on that. Yeah. Oh, Aaron. I'm Kyle. Hi, Kyle. Aaron, you changed your name? Or that just sounds kind of funny, like, I'm Kyle.
Yeah. Oh, Koberger.
Yeah. Okay. So Travis, who's an attorney, says, I don't think it means anything. The chief judge position rotates because it's a shit job. They announce this stuff on the first court day of the year in all courts all over the U.S. Okay. So perfect. Doesn't really mean anything. Hi, BG. Happy New Year. Okay. So now Brian Koberger. I read all the stuff on this. I like everything, like all the motions and stuff. I should probably do it live, but I struggle with this one because I think he's the right guy, and I don't really think there's too much to dive into when it comes to this case. I did watch them take down the house, which was actually more emotional than I thought it would be for me. I mean, like I didn't cry, but I was just like, it made me think of like all the good memories they had, like all the videos and all the fun and everything that they did when they were in there, and I was like, it's just gone. Like, not, yeah, it's a reminder of obviously what happened bad there, but I was like, it's also, they lived a good little portion of the last part of their life having a great time there. I don't know. It just kind of made me kind of sad. Like all the memories are gone.
Yeah. And I think too, like I was having a conversation with someone regarding the big story of that, which is, should they have actually demolished the house before the trial? And I think that was a hard part for me, just because I think it just opens ends of things that it didn't need to by doing it now. And like, it just leaves open endings versus have it sit there for one more year. But I mean, yes, the school can't have it there for another school year. So it'll affect their payments and stuff.
Yeah, there's just so much political bullshit around it. Like it did not, the only thing it hurt, in my opinion, is the university's bottom line. So Travis asked, did the university own the house? That doesn't really make sense. So the house was owned by a private owner, but somebody who owns a lot of college houses like this, at a couple different colleges out of Colorado, actually. When this happened, he ended up donating, just handing the house over to the university and saying, like, do what you want with it. And, you know, it is what it is. I don't think that they have a lot of properties. I don't think they really wanted to deal with what was going to happen to the house, or anything with the court, or owning the house with nobody living in it. They just are like, you know what, just let it go. They actually own other properties right there on
on King
like
Road.
on King Road. So
Yeah,
it was up to the college to decide if they were going to take it down or not, and the prosecutors and the defense team obviously had a say so. I don't know if I'm in the minority or the majority here. I don't care that the house was taken down for the jury part of it. That doesn't mean anything to me, because I know that like people are like, but look at all the juries that go to trial or go to the crime scene. Most juries don't actually go to a crime scene.
Right.
But a lot of times in high profile cases they can, but it doesn't even, the judge still would have to approve for them to go. I just don't know. I didn't really understand the point of taking it down when there were people who didn't want it down when it came to the case. I think that was more upsetting for me than anything to do with the jury.
Like the final pleas from, was it
The family
and the Gonsalves families? They
Yeah.
put out that final plea like the day before, and everything like that. And it was just, it's one of those things where I think with me, the reason that I'm held back on, like, yeah, I agree with you. Not a lot of juries actually do go back to the crime scene. But I think with how we've seen Ann Taylor defend Brian Koberger, there's no way that this is not going to be an issue later on, just based on the things that she grabs onto as her defense. You know what I mean? So I see it more as like, why did the prosecution say yes when there is some way, somehow, that she could potentially use it against them to help Brian, versus just being like, let's just wait and we can do it after. I guess that's where I sit with it, is like, it just gives me icky feelings that there's gonna be potentially something on it. No, I know, Crafty Chris, and that's the part that I don't understand, is that the prosecution did sign off on it. Everyone did.
They all did.
Yeah.
Well, according to the prosecutor, he essentially states that the house is not in the same shape or condition that it was at the time, which makes me curious. And because from this case, we know that there's not the best communication coming from some of the families to the prosecutors. So I think that I would be curious to know what was actually taken out of the house. What main structural pieces had been removed that you weren't going to be able to see anything when it came to that, because he essentially was saying like the crime scene isn't going to look anything like it did.
Did you see a lot of the pictures of like when it was half taken down, like when they demolished the add-on versus the original part of the house, and how there were a lot of people that analyzed just the screenshots and the videos, and it literally showed just huge chunks of the walls completely gone. And like,
did you guys watch that in chat? I can pull it up. We can watch a little bit of it if you want.
But they were saying like the way that it came out, it wasn't just from the demolition. It had to have been from them cutting pieces out, and based on where they were, it was like in Xana's room. People were saying it was like Maddie's room, like their walls, and it was like almost the entirety of like the back wall on Xana's room, like the one that faces the kitchen and like the sliding
door. The one that was potentially had blood coming down from it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's going to be more of just like, to them, they're like, I don't know, you can't actually see where the body was here, where it was here, because we took the wall out, or we took this out, and all the beds are already gone. Like, I get it in that sense, but there was a lot in the Gonsalves family statement that came out the day before the house was torn down in regards to different ways the house could have still been utilized during trial. In regards of like, if we stand down in Bethany's room and I scream from Kaylee's room, can you hear me? But then they were like, well, that doesn't matter either, because half of the walls are torn out. So is that really going to make a difference? And so it was more of like, there were a lot of good points, but then at the same time, how much of that is useful and how much of that is just, in a perfect world, if they wouldn't have completely like scrapped the house, are there aspects of those questions that could have been answered? And the fact that I think there is a potential for that, like, I don't know, you know?
Oh, I agree. Yeah, let me
I'm
see if
kind of
this one.
curious.
Let me see if this one's. I watched a lot longer of a stream, so I was just trying to find a short one that we could watch kind of
Oh,
together.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's very interesting. They started like an hour and a half before they actually said they were going to.
Right.
I thought that was interesting too. Like, why did they purposely set a time for people to be there and say they were going to start and then actually start at a totally different time?
Try to beat the crowds,
Right.
knowing that there would be it.
But I mean, they purposely told everybody when to come. So they want it. That's what's confusing to me.
I don't know. And, you know, I was thinking too why this is so emotional, because we all followed this literally from when it happened. And we have gone and over gone through the virtual walkthroughs of this house and gone through all the TikToks and looked at all the listings. And I think it's just weird that now it's like, oh, it's gone. It's crazy.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Did they run all kinds of tests like this before tearing it down? So they both the prosecutors and the defense team had gone in I think a couple of weeks actually beforehand. The FBI went in there and created their oh gosh, why can't I think of what the name of that is right now? It's like a 3D replica of the house. So they have everything that they would need to show a jury. It's just not tangible. Like, it's not like something they can walk in there and see or feel or touch, or, you know what I mean? Like, they can't, they don't get all the sensory around it. But that, I know. Yeah, well, I kind of thought the same thing, because I was like, why did they start so early? When the first filming I saw, the whole, which would have been Bethany's room, which would have been right here, the empty room, which would have been right here, all that was all gone already. They'd already taken the whole front part down. So like when they start off, you essentially are seeing like the kitchen, Kaylee's room, the upstairs bathroom. They had part of the family room here, and then you've got Dylan's room. I mean, you can see the staircase going straight up, and then back there you've got Maddie's room. And then they smush it pretty quick, after this. Yeah, it's important to the school to take it down. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was watching WFLA Now, and I want to say that JB had come on early, like just to like get the stream set up, and like right as he came on, it was like probably a half hour before it was set to actually start, and they were already doing it, and he's like, "Whoa, good thing you came on," and it was so funny. And then and then it was like really fast. All of a sudden, I was getting all the notifications of this person's going live, and then it's all like, they're early, it's gone.
Mm-hmm. Like, Gray was still half asleep when he walked across the street. He was like, "What are you guys doing? Like, why are they already doing this?"
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the school wanted it down because it's a constant reminder of what can happen
when you put your kids there. Yeah.
When you put your kids in that school. Somebody asked if Ethan's family was the only one in support of taking it down. I never heard one way or the other about Maddie's family, whether they cared or didn't care. There were two that were vocal, and that was Xana's and Kaylee's parents. Yeah. They were the ones vocal about not tearing it down, just in case.
I do think that it says a lot, though, because based on the history of the Gonsalves putting stuff out, usually the Mogan family is like in their joint things. They'll usually say the Gonsalves and Mogan families together, like our girls, whatever. So the fact that the Mogan family wasn't in there, we can't necessarily read into it, but I was just like, huh. That's interesting. Put a little note in that, but nothing too crazy to say one way or the other.
I was also curious because one of the reasons that Ethan's family was absolutely okay with it coming down was because the other two of the triplets are still in school there. When this happened, Kaylee's brother was in school there. Does he no longer go to school there? I never checked to see if he did. Because that was like their big point was like, no, our kids, like our kids still go there kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll look.
So I wondered. I don't know. It just, like I said, I definitely was more emotional than I thought I would be. Just like it's just gone now. But anybody who knows what happened, there's always going to know that that's what happened.
Yeah, no matter what gets put there.
Yeah. I can see that too. I don't know. So it feels very political to me, though, and I think that waiting, especially if they are going to go to trial, not too long from now, which is what the prosecution's asking for trial over this summer. I don't know what would have hurt to keep it up there that much longer. Say bye to anything that might have made a difference, and they needed it from there. Yeah. I agree with tearing it down. I just don't agree with the timing. Not sure why they didn't ask me first. Right? Why didn't they ask any of us? BK took 4 beautiful souls who were just blossoming as adults. Yeah, I agree. All right, let's go. We'll stop this one. Let's go to the next one. We got a whole lot to go through. Adam Montgomery.
Ugh.
So I will actually pull up the clip that Shebe sent me. So Harmony Montgomery went missing for a long time before she was ever actually reported missing. And so many gory details have come out. I have a playlist on Harmony Montgomery, and I don't think I could even go back and listen to my own. When I read through the amount of documents that they released about what he supposedly, allegedly did to her, it was horrifying reading through it. And it's just little. She's just so little and she's so cute. So this is actually from today. So this is the most up to date on this case. So we'll watch this. I don't know if we'll watch all of it, but. And he goes to trial. I already had that down. He goes to trial February 6th of 2024. He was already found guilty in May of 2023 on stealing and selling guns. Right. Where he, during his, when he got to speak to the judge, he says that, that he did not do anything to his daughter Harmony. But the things that his wife, I think they're still technically married, says that he did, and they're going to talk about it in this clip. So I'm just going to let it play so that I don't spend too much time talking about it. But just it's horrible. You guys hear it? Okay.
Again.
Adam, right? Do you remember me from the Elliott Hospital from a while back, man?
Yep, I got nothing to say.
Right. So hey, man. The only thing we're trying to figure out is where Harmony is, okay? So, the concern is that you guys are safe, right? You're not in trouble. Nobody said you're losing your daughter, right? So I want to make that clear. So, I have my body cam on, too, just like everybody else is being on video. So we just need to find out where she is. That's all I'm concerned about. You're not in any trouble right now that I know of. Okay. You have no warrants. Okay. So, where's your daughter so we can check on her to make sure that she's okay?
Right now, I have nothing to say, you guys.
But that's not what I'm just asking.
Okay, I have nothing to say.
So you don't care if your daughter's okay or not?
I do. I listen. I have nothing to say.
Is your daughter?
If I'm under arrest, you guys can arrest me.
Wow, what an attitude he's got, huh? Well, Adam Montgomery's attorneys.
Well, he also will state when he was talking to, he was very heavily into drugs, and I know according to him he's now clean because he's in prison.
Oh, you don't say.
Take that for what you want. So
There's
I
no
actually,
drugs in
he's
prison.
got quite an attitude on. The guy has, I mean, he has a history of some, bad shit. So, okay, I'm gonna play it.
He's also want to exclude some suspicious purchases that his wife Kayla claims that he made to tamper with Harmony's remains, including a metal cutting blade, a grinder, and lime. Now, Kayla Montgomery is expected to be a key witness at Adam's upcoming trial scheduled to begin on February the 6th. She already testified at his trial last June, where he was convicted on weapons charges. Here to discuss with me, Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson, Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft, and we still have attorney Carl Steinbeck standing.
So somebody said Kayla's complicit. I have such a problem, and I can spend too much time on this case, so I have to really reel myself in. I have such a problem with her getting any form of leniency after what she admits that she did and that she partook in. And yes, she was on drugs as well. But if you guys don't know, there is, let me tell you what the name of it is so that you guys can just go listen to it too. If you haven't heard, if you haven't heard it, I'll tell you the name. It's like the doc. I think it's like documents reveal the horrendous details or something like that.
For your one,
Yeah.
it was terrible.
Oh, it's so bad.
I don't even know if I actually finished reading through it at when it first came out. I think I had to leave after a little bit, but just I couldn't handle it.
I'll grab it. If you guys haven't heard it or you want a refresher, there's the video where I read through it's 55 pages, 54 pages, and I just can't.
Major trigger warning because it is very graphic and nothing is really held back in that.
Yeah, I can't stand her. I cannot stand her. I just can't believe that she's going to get any form of leniency whatsoever. But that's the way our system works, and it's how they get people to testify, and it's like the first one to make a deal. Hey, Kathy. People drove by 879 South Bundy for decades, left things, etc. Probably still do something they wanted to avoid. True, and that was also some other cases too, like the Watts house. ATS. I don't know when her live was starting, but ATS can attest to this too. That people drove by that house all the time. Some still do, and they kept it up and they sold it, and they repainted it and everything. And there's still people who drive by it and take pictures. It's crazy. Hi, Thistle. Yeah, I do. I have a lot of really unhealthy, bad feelings towards these two people and Letitia Stout that I always say these are people I don't know, and I shouldn't have this much anger or hatred for them, but I do. I just do. I don't know why it's different than some, why you have how things change. This is why I always say I respect people who are I hate Richard Allen and I think he's a piece of shit. I'm I get it. I do. Because there's so many people I feel like that. And you probably shouldn't, because you don't know the people.
By remotely for us. What a panel I've got today on the couch, you guys. Ooh, I wish we had all day.
Every day, now a convicted felon dirtbag, but with a great attorney, Carolyn Smith, that's really pushing for these motions.
Ah, right. You're speaking of, and so we know that they want the items from Home Depot to not be in front of the jury. And Kelly, I want to bounce something off of you, please. Tapping into your experience as a former prosecutor. Taking a look at a piece of that affidavit of probable cause that was for the murder charges, Kayla offers some information about seeing Adam Montgomery pouring some lime on little Harmony's body. So take a look. So we've highlighted this, and she says that Harmony wasn't bones, that she had skin and teeth and hair. This is so sad, and she could still tell that it was her. And then Adam put about half of the bag of lime or a little more into that bag that he was carrying around, that duffel bag that's mentioned all throughout the affidavit. Kelly, knowing this motion that his defense team has filed trying to keep out the lime and the other things, the grinder. What do you think as a prosecutor? How problematic would it be if that stuff is excluded?
Well, as a prosecutor, you want to argue that this is really connected to the case here. And that's how you can get this kind of evidence in. Of course, defense counsel is saying that lime is kind of a common product that maybe a lot of people will buy it. So they want this excluded. And of course, they've actually had some wins so far in this case because the judge has agreed to suppress some of the interactions that he has made with the police. But of course, defense counsel wants that entire video, that interrogation video, and a little bit, if you want to call it interrogation video that they showed earlier. They want all of that excluded, defense counsel. But the prosecution really has to stick to the argument that his actions are all connected to the death of his daughter. And then the judge can maybe decide to get it in.
Right, Kelly. I'm glad you brought up about the video because he's also trying to keep that out. Let's play another clip from when he is questioned by police.
Can you make me a promise? Like, man to man? Can you tell me that she's alive?
You're gonna play the same word games that you played with me the other day.
It's not word games.
I got nothing else.
We care about. We want to know.
This isn't gonna go anywhere. Like, this isn't gonna stop. So,
No, it's not.
So
So
either get on the bus now or get run over.
well, I got nothing else to say.
Why is it you have so much trouble talking about Harmony?
Guys, I got nothing else to say. I want a lawyer with me.
Lawyers up there, Carl.
Thank you, Kay. That is so kind of you. Happy New Year. I already typed it in chat too, so I'm going to go ahead and put it there too. But thank you very, very much. So this is a defense attorney that ends up coming on. I believe he's a defense attorney anyway. It's so bad, you guys. They didn't even go over. They barely touched on how bad this is. It's so bad.
Steinbeck.
It's so bad because it's just, like I said, I don't want to talk about it too much, but because I could stay on this for a really long time. So he kills her. Allegedly, he kills her, and they travel around with her. So it's not like they kill her and leave her and somebody finds her. Nobody had seen her since December, the very beginning of December of 2019. She wasn't reported missing until like the beginning of 2021.
Yeah.
They traveled around with her remains decomposing like this baby. Like it just makes me so sick.
Yeah, and some of the stories are just horrendous of, putting her in the duffel bag, trying to push her body around in a stroller, and just terrible.
So, and then he stands up and he says he didn't have anything to do with it. So, I mean, I can guarantee that's a case I'll be paying a lot of attention to. And I hope that we get cameras in the courtroom for that one. We had them for his gun trial. I wouldn't see why we wouldn't. So they put her in a cooler and left her in a hallway, put her in a duffel bag. When I can't, all right, let me just finish this.
The likelihood that video potentially being excluded. What do you think the judge will do, please?
Yeah, I think the judge is probably going to exclude most all the evidence of what he says. And what they're looking at as a prosecutor is if that happens, then what other evidence can we bring in to show his guilt? And a lot of that would be his body language, his demeanor. And so take out the words. What do you have about the way he's acting, just the way he's responding outside of his car and whatnot? And think about it. What kind of father wouldn't be concerned about his daughter who's missing for 2 years? And he's got nothing to say about it. So he's obviously acting very guilty and suspicious. And that's what the defense is trying to do, is keep everything they possibly can out. And even the stuff like the lime purchase, that kind of stuff should come in, though, because that does show that it's directly tied to the crime. And so I expect all that kind of evidence of what he purchased at Home Depot will be admissible.
All right, so his trial set for February. We're gonna move on from him. We've only made it to 5, and so we can't be here all night. So this is we can do this with every case. Like now in the next one, same thing. I don't mean to laugh. I'm not laughing because I'm just like laughing because I'm like I could just spend hours talking about each of these individually, And so I don't know why I
Yeah.
think that we can do this in like a a couple hour live stream. I don't know why I ever think that because I'm
Well,
like
and it's funny. Yeah, I got on here early and we were talking like before the stream started, and she's like, "Hey, Mal, we can only talk for a few minutes on each case." And I'm like, "Got it." And here we are.
I know. All right, I'm going to stop doing that because I'll keep doing it. Quentin Simon. Quentin Simon was one of the first cases I actually covered on this channel. I think it was like the third
Damn
case
it,
I ever
Leilani.
covered. Yeah, with Leilani Simon, his mother, who drugs, said that she went and met somebody in the middle of the night to get some tooth medicine, like Ambisol or something. Okay, he absolutely did. I love this little boy.
Yeah.
I love this little. There's just some of me just like fall in love with, and I love this little boy. He's so damn cute. And she put him in a dumpster at a trailer park, and the trash trucks came and dumped him into their trash trucks and drove him to the dump, where they ended up having to search for days on end for any form of remains of
enough DNA
Quentin.
to be able to identify that his body was in the dump, but it was not a body, which is terrible. And all while Leilani is on YouTube and online and in the Facebook groups, her mom, everyone's just out there, I didn't do this. If you guys find out that I did this, then I'll take myself and turn myself into jail. Well,
yeah, if they can prove I did this, or if there's proof I did this, I'll walk in there and I'll turn myself in.
okay, bye, bitch.
A lot of people gave her mom a hard time, and I understood why people gave her mom a hard time, but I felt really bad for Billy Joe.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out, like, you can't, if you yell at her too much, she's not going to tell you anything. If you don't, if you stand by her, then now you're getting absolutely criticized.
Right.
I don't know. It was tough. I have the babysitter down the street. She was all over any type of social media she could be. She ended up actually blocking me on TikTok because I was recording her stuff and putting it on YouTube for everybody to see. Then she was trying to keep it private on TikTok, apparently. So I have a whole playlist of all the stuff that the babysitter ever had to say, and the recordings of Leilani, and is Commander Alpha Turkey in here? I'll never forget the reason I bonded with, it was Ender Turkey at the time, but they're the ones who helped me decipher what actually was said in that video or the audio that was captured by the news. So big shout out to Commander Alpha Turkey for being able to figure that out. But yeah, so she's got a hearing coming up in January 2024. It's supposed to be a trial. She's still fighting, but she did get her diploma while she was in prison, and they posted about it.
Yep, I saw that.
No, yeah. And then I know Billy Joe does. She's on TikTok, and she does some really sad videos, like in memory of Quentin. But then there's also some where you can tell that she's actually trying to, like, she's hanging out with like other grandkids, and I don't know whatever ended up do you guys happen to know what happened with the other kids? So the other two, so she had three kids by Leilani did 3 kids by 3 different baby daddies. And I know that her older boy, the dad was trying to get custody of him. And her boyfriend at the time, who I once again was kind of in the, how did he not really know what was happening? I still question that, and most people think that he actually turned and was going to test it.
That's some type of plea deal.
Yeah, well, I would think that would be public at some point, but it hasn't ever been. It's just been speculated about. So I don't know I don't know who ended up getting custody of her older son and the baby girl. I don't know what happened with that.
I know the boyfriend that we were just talking about that potentially got the plea deal, I know he was fighting for custody of the baby girl. I just don't know exactly what all came of it. So, like, I know that at least 2 of the three dads at the time that she was arrested had put in something in regards to gaining custody of their child. I don't know about the second one, and I'm not exactly sure what came about with the actual court cases themselves. So if anyone in chat knows, paternal grandmother for the older son, I think he says. Okay.
She was young. She was like 22, I believe. Let me see how old she is. Lonnie Simon.
Oldest boy, the paternal grandparents were going to get custody. Thank you, Shay.
Yeah, she's 24. She was 24 at the end of 2022.
Okay.
So she's probably, about 20. I guess she wasn't as young as I thought she was, but her paternal grandparents were going to get custody. Yeah.
Does anyone know about the middle boy?
Well, he's the middle boy. He was the middle. There was three. So the older boy, and then the little one was the girl.
And then the girl. Okay.
She was only a few months old at the time. And I know that the dad who was living with them at the time and his mom were trying to get custody, but I don't know if they did. So something to kind of look into. Here's major controversy if anybody's ever heard of this case. As soon as I can get out of the Delphi hole, I'm going to go back and go through anything I can with Karen Reed. I have followed the case, but have not actually been able to dig in live and talk with you guys about it. So this was kind of interesting. Maybe I should just let you talk because I keep talking too much.
Me?
Yeah, because I go through. I have so much I want to say about all of them. Give you a different one.
Yeah.
This one's kind of crazy. They were out at a bar and they were going to an after. Yeah, it's a whole thing with the rabbit holes. I know.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you the short version. So they were out at the bar. They were both drinking. They were invited over to a fellow officer's house. They go there and she leaves and goes back to their house and is messaging him and telling him off essentially. And he isn't answering and doesn't come home. And so she leaves to go back over there and he is found passed away in the front drive kind of, I don't know what you call that, like grassy area next to the drive. He is found out there in the snow, passed away. Now, there's a lot of talk about police corruption in this case. There's a lot of talk about whether she actually did it, didn't do it. There's some videos talking like that. You can see her pulling out and bumping into a car at the driveway. So the defense is claiming that he actually did go to this party and that he was attacked by a dog, and they essentially set this whole thing up. And they want the charges dropped. And now we have a trial coming up on March 12th, 2024, if it happens. This is kind of taken over by social media because of the whole police corruption part of it, of course. And then there is somebody who has been on social media who has really taken on the task of proving her innocence and has now gotten himself arrested and has a ton of charges based on witness intimidation and crazy.
Yeah. And that's a whole case in its own as well, because not only was that person like completely going for Karen Reed, but there was a lot of other stuff behind the scenes potentially that is being said. So this case is one that if you do like, if you do like the rabbit hole of this case, there are a lot of different places it's going to take you. So just know that because I didn't follow this case until probably like a month ago, and I still have never done like a deep dive in it. It's more of just I've gotten the gist of it, and I know here and there where it's like that's weird or that was weird or that shouldn't have happened that way, but like everything else I don't know. Yeah, Thistle, thank you.
And Shay should make videos for her channel. I think that she would be great at it.
Yeah.
She always tells me no every time I try to tell her to do it. So, I heard an attorney who saw the autopsy pics that the injuries didn't look like a car hit him, scratches, and now the dog is gone.
Right.
Yeah. This could go so many directions. You know, I got to finish making all my enemies with Delphi first, and then I can make all my enemies with Karen Reed.
Yeah.
when we do that one. I'm all in on this one, Mary says.
Oh.
So, all right, March 12th. And obviously all these dates are set on the docket, but that does not mean that there won't be continuances or other things that happen that push them out. So that's where we're at currently. This case, it's going to be, I have to devote it to Mariah. I have to finish what I started, and then I have to walk away. Especially once we hear from them on the 18th, I have to just go, okay, I can't live that. I can't live in that. It's too much. You blew up the Delphi community Hunger Games style.
Yeah. Teresa likes to make people angry.
But see, and that's the funny thing is because I actually really don't. I don't like to make people angry. But I think the problem with the Delphi case for me is because I am so undecided that I think that also makes it tough because I don't have a team, if that makes sense. Like I'm not team guilty and I'm not team innocent. So I kind of just float around in the middle trying to figure out what I think. So that's where I'm at with that. And most of these, like I said, like I cover like updates and stuff, but it's that one I'm so lost on because like Brian Koberg, like I said, I don't cover it as much as I used to because I'm kind of just sold that he's the guy and I'm just kind of like letting it all kind of ride. But I know there's people who totally disagree with that.
Well, and I think that's one of the most stressful things about watching you cover Delphi too, is because I do know who you are off of YouTube. So for me, I'm like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's doing this. She's being paid to do this. She's doing this. And I'm like, have you guys met Teresa? Like, no. So far from, it's just crazy. Okay. So
yeah, nobody's paying me to do anything. Otherwise, I would have a lot more money in my pocket, and I don't. So, this case, okay. So Cody Bigsby went missing. Nobody reports him for a while. Then the dad ends up going and saying that he's missing. All the kids end up getting taken. And this was my lovely Mia Moore Michelle. This is like her case, like close to her heart. So, as I said, all the people that I still follow cases, even if I'm not the one that's majorly invested in it, because I want to see justice end up happening. But this guy has essentially admitted he doesn't even look like this anymore. I should show you a picture of him now. Oh, you guys won't even recognize him. Let me pull it up real quick. You won't even recognize him. So the biggest news that came out the most recently is that he actually has confessed and in a written letter, and his attorneys were trying to get it thrown out. I don't believe they did. I think the judge ruled that he can stay. You're not even, I'm telling you, you're not even going to recognize him. Look at. Oh, shoot, there it is. Look at it. He doesn't even look like the same guy anymore.
Dang.
He's aged so much.
Yeah, well, jail does that to you.
Yeah. Well, I think he also, I mean, like I said, he's essentially, once again, we have like a confession, and he, I'm thinking that there's probably a lot of guilt that comes along with this one. And then he's never been found.
Guilty?
What?
You think he feels guilty that he did it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I do.
I didn't follow this one. I followed the headlines of this one, but like not in depth.
Yeah, look at the difference. Maybe he was maybe he was just dyeing his stuff. Maybe he was already gray. So, but poor little Cody's still not been found.
But court's coming up in March, you said?
Yeah, I'll pull you up his stuff. His is March 4th, 2024.
Okay.
Corey Bigsby. Confession.
We have breaking news here at midday. We have a major update in the case of missing 4-year-old Cody Bigsby.
New testimony.
It's his own son.
About how his father, Corey, allegedly killed his son and hid the body. There's a hearing going on right now in Hampton. Our reporter ran out of the courtroom to bring us this information. So testimony came from an officer at the Hampton Roads Regional Jail in court this morning. He said Corey Bigsby confessed that he found Cody unresponsive one night and then tried to give Cody CPR. Well, then he realized the boy was dead and wasn't coming back. So instead of reporting his son's death, the officer testified that Bigsby told him he put his son in a trash bag, then placed the bag in his car for 3 days. Then he buried the boy's body and threw items in a dumpster.
Meanwhile, the Hampton judge overseeing a hearing just ruled that a 6-year-old boy can testify via video in the trial against Bigsby's father, Corey Bigsby. That boy is another one of Corey's children. The decision came down after testimony from a child trauma expert. As we reported, the defense wanted the boy to testify in person in front of his father, but we're told the boy expressed that he was scared and worried about his feelings and expressed those to a counselor.
The defense is working to get certain police interviews with Corey Bigsby thrown out, and that was part of why we heard from that officer that was in jail. We've been following this story since Cody was first reported missing in January of 2022. His body has never been found, and his father, Corey, has been charged in his death and disappearance. Court documents say he killed Cody sometime in June of 2021. And again, 10 on your sides, Kenna Patterson is in court right now.
Yeah, and so of course, look for her updates later on today on Wade.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely not a good guy. So I think I had read, maybe somebody here who follows closer can confirm. I believe I read that they were going to let his older son testify in a different courtroom without being in front of his dad.
Good.
But I don't want to. I'm not 100% on that, so I don't know if somebody else can verify that for me.
They should, though. They shouldn't traumatize him any more than they have to.
Well, you know, with the West kids, they had them all testify right in front of them. With Frizzell and Jacqueline West, all the kids testified.
I wonder though if it's based on testimony too. Plus, they said that the child was interviewed by the trauma psychologist. So I wonder if there was just differences in, okay, well, with the West boys, they asked him this, this, and this, versus like this would have been more graphic or something like that. I don't know. Ugh.
I know. I don't know why I thought I could actually go through these like this.
Just get to the 3 that I'm good at.
Okay. So Chad Dorman, if you guys have been around on this channel for any amount of time, like this is another case that was very, very close to my heart. And I actually took the day and drove we were in Ohio for my daughter's national gymnastics competition. And we were about 20 minutes away from their house. And so I drove over to see the house, and I was going to go live and like show everybody, and I couldn't. I just stood there and cried. I stood there and cried. You could feel them there. And so if you guys aren't familiar with this case, this dad of 3 boys, shot all of his children. At first it was reported like he lined them up and shot them, but then as the details came out, it was somewhat even more horrendous. The little one was with his mom, and he yanked him out of his mom's arms. The mom ended up shot, I think, in the thumb.
Mm-hmm.
The one boy tried to run. There was they had an older sister that wasn't Chad, it was Chad's stepdaughter, and she tried to take one of the boys, and he pointed the gun at her and told her to put him down, or he was going to shoot her. And so she ended up running to a fire department that's really like it's across the street, but I mean it would take a little bit to get there. She ended up running to the fire department, and he shot and killed all 3 of them. And then he sat on his porch and smoked a cigarette and waited for the cops to come.
But it was crazy because one of the first things that he had said when the police got there and they disarmed him and everything like that was like, don't hurt my dog. She's not going to hurt you. And it was like he had just killed his 3 sons, which, like Teresa said, one of them ran away into like the field behind their house. He went, chased him, got him, brought him back, and then still killed him. And it's just, ugh. But the thing that he was most worried about was that the police would hurt his dog when they first got there. And that was, I remember being super pissed off about that. Because, ugh.
Let's see if I can find I'm gonna find that video real quick. Not that one, just mine.
Oh, just to put it in chat. Gotcha. Yeah. And it is crazy when they just sit there and they're literally just like waiting. They're like, "Okay, come and get me." And it's just, that was a hard one too, because we were able to see a lot of the aftermath, because they did so quickly release the body cam footage, and they released it from multiple angles as well, which was unexpected.
All the everything was put out there. This is my visit when I went there. I'm gonna play that. I'll play it for you guys. It's only a few minutes long.
And running around on bikes, go-karts, and trampoline.
A moment of reflection in Monroe Township today to honor the lives of 3 brothers. The New Richmond Youth Sports Association put this all together to remember the boys killed in Claremont County and the first responders who showed up the day that they were killed.
Sweet, loving, jokesters. He was everybody's friend. He was the sweetest kid, and he wanted everyone to know that he was his friend.
Loved ones say 7-year-old Clayton, 4-year-old Hunter, and 3-year-old Chase were cheerful, caring, and energetic young boys who love the game of baseball.
They are happy-go-lucky little boys who, they were all over this ball field probably just about every day of the week. They were supportive of each other, their sister.
Sunshine's gone down for a while, there's a full moon, but no, not out yet. I brush my teeth and put myself to sleep. I gotta get up early, I got school today, it's time to go to class, I gotta give myself an A. I can't wait for the bell to ring so I can go and play. I got a spelling test and some math to do. 4 and 4 is 8, 1 and 1 is 2. Excuse me, teacher, I'm all done, may I be excused? Sunshine has gone down for a while, there's a full moon, but no, not out yet. I brush my teeth and put myself to sleep. Sunshine has gone down for a while, there's a full moon, but no, not out yet. I brush my teeth and put myself to sleep. Wake up today, the last day of the week. Yeah, Friday's here, and you know what that means. Baseball game, we hit the park, I grab my cleats. Sunday's here, my parents wanna lay low. I say, get up, well, can't you hear the wind blow? I grab my guitar, throw it up and unwind the string. Sunshine has gone down for a while, there's a full moon, but no, not out yet. I brush my teeth and put myself to sleep. Sunshine has gone down for a while, there's a full moon, but no, not out yet. I brush my teeth and put myself to sleep.
So when I got there, it had been raining a lot, and they put the boy's aunt had come and taken a lot of the stuffed animals and was washing them, and that's why there was a bunch of totes and there was a canopy up over it. And where I kind of went to like the front of the driveway, that's where the memorial was originally, but everything got soaked, so they were washing everything and bringing it back. And there was just totes full. There was totes full of stuff. So like what you see there is like nothing compared to what it was actually left for these boys. But I wanted to stop it there because this is, you can see from their house, this is the fire department. It's right here. So I mean, it would take a little bit to get there, like especially on foot, but I mean, she tried.
Yeah.
She tried.
Didn't she make it to a car first, like a personal car?
So she was running and a car was passing her, and she was like, he killed my family. He killed my family.
And she was like, get in the car, and she was like, no, I can't.
Right. And she just kept going, and she went over to the fire department. So, all right, let's go. So as of right now, he has his trial is set for July of 2024. I know I feel sorry for the stepdaughter and the mom. Okay, so this case it's a bit of an older case. I shouldn't say too old, but it's kind of a wonky situation with what's happening. Jennifer Dulos went missing, mom of 6, and her husband, Fotis Dulos, here on the left, was the primary suspect when he knew that he was going to be taken away for it. He ended up actually killing himself in his garage. This was his girlfriend at the time. She had already moved out, and she had moved in with her daughter. And then there's tons of video of them driving around together that where they're disposing of things in different trash bins. So she is now on trial, or her trial is about to start. They have she's going to be facing a jury of 6. So it's kind of an interesting thing. She's going to be facing a jury of 6 with 6 alternates. And they recently ruled not that long ago that all of her police interviews were going to be able to be played in court because the defense was trying to get those shut out. So even though we can't get justice for the person who people believe actually did it, this guy, she has still never been found. Her kids went to live with her mother, who was older, but luckily very wealthy, and was able to hire quite a few people to come and help take care of the kids. And so she is now the one that's going to be on trial. Plus, an attorney is also, I don't know when his trial is, but one of his attorney friends who was accused of knowing and helping, they're also going to be on trial for like accessory. So I don't think there's going to be too much this. She's just essentially going to try to say that she didn't know what she was doing in the car, and she didn't know that he killed her. Jennifer Dulos. So Jennifer Dulos, this is Michelle Troconis out of, I think it's New Hampshire. Oh, I want to say New Hampshire. I might be missing something on that. It was a really big case at the time. It's just taken a long time for it to go to court. So it'll be interesting to follow up with. This one, you probably can talk more on than I can. Obviously, I think most people know that Rex Heuermann is alleged to be the Long Island serial killer. They have connected him to a few of the bodies that were found on Gilgo Beach.
Yeah.
I think most recently they connected him to
Shannon.
To Shannon, yeah.
Yeah. So I've covered all of them individually as individual victims on my channel.
Do you have like a playlist?
I don't, but I only have like 12 videos.
Okay. We'll make sure.
Yeah, 6 of them are the individual cases for each of the girls. They also have recently, who was it? Karen Vergata was added to the list. And they just recently also have a way of connecting Shannon Gilbert, who, if you guys are looking at Teresa's screen, is the 3rd one on the bottom row. who was the original one who went missing. And it was during the search for her that they first uncovered the bodies on Gilgo Beach. So, supposedly there's some type of way that they have connected her. It hasn't all come out yet, but I think there is a lot behind the scenes going on. I think there's going to be a lot, not necessarily more people involved, but a lot more victims that are going to end up coming out of this. There are a handful of other unidentified bodies and such that have been found, and there's a lot to this case, and it's very, very in-depth. So,
and I don't think this one just has a hearing in February. I don't think we're gonna see a trial actually happen for quite a while.
Long time.
They're gonna be this is gonna be something that we're gonna have some time to dig further into, because I am not overly familiar with it. I've learned essentially I know from the news stuff that when it happened, but I learned on Mallory's channel, and then one of my moderators who isn't here tonight, Sleuth Investigate, she is very, very deep into the Long Island serial killer. So I'm hoping that she will join me sometime. Al, you too. We can go through all of it, because like I said, you guys know so much more than I do about all the players and who the people were. I just know kind of more surface stuff.
Yeah. A few other channels too. I know Duty Ron is very much, obviously being from New York, he's very into the Long Island serial killer. So is attorney Melanie Little, both great channels. They both have a lot of good work and like more behind the scenes kind of stuff on the Long Island serial killer. So those are two other channels too that are really good if you wanted to learn more about that case.
And the Unraveling had Dr. Gary Bricado, and Unraveling covered Lisk and Hugh Urban over the fall. So that would be, there's Sleuth Investigate right there. Yeah, Lisk is going down.
Yeah.
So one of the most curious things is that the wife was actually filing for divorce, and then now is not, because she was offered a lot of money to be in a documentary, which is also interesting because I believe is the same. It's the same company that is doing the Delphi murders as well as the Idaho. So they have like the CW is putting out I think it's 8 or 10 episodes. I don't remember. And they're like 2 hours a piece. And there's going to be one on Idaho, one on the Long Island serial killer, one on Delphi, like all the bigger crimes that are happening 2023, 2024 right now. So a whole production team and money. Yeah, I don't know if she's involved, but I think she knew he was hinky. I don't know if she was part of any of the actual stuff, but I think she just was like, he's weird, and I'll just keep the money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where I'm kind of at with it. I don't know. I don't know enough about it to really have an opinion. Like I said, I could only tell you surface stuff. So when I have questions about this, I literally will just be like, Mallory or Sleuth Investigate, who the heck is this person and how are they connected to anything? You got the guy in the fancy suit, and I was like, who's this? And Sleuth Investigate's like, oh, that's so-and-so. And then I'm like, shit, hopefully I can remember that in a couple of months, because I don't remember it now. He called victims' families for years after. Imagine what kind of monster we're dealing with. Yeah, this guy is going to be, this is a piece of work right here. This is going to go deep. This is going to be big, and it's going to go deep. And I don't think they've even touched the surface. I found the Unraveling on my Delphi rabbit holes and started blowing up. Check this out, blah, blah, blah. I know, I'm a big fan of the Unraveling. I don't think she's involved either, but I think she knew of his fetish. Yeah, exactly. Well, from my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mallory, my understanding is that he took them back to his house, so it wouldn't really be unheard of that there were hairs of hers or any type of her stuff that would be on them.
Yeah, the contact hairs are, I mean, if you're bringing someone in, even if the person didn't necessarily come into their home, like, there's still the opportunity for something that he's wearing to have his wife's hair on it. Like, there's a lot of transfer of DNA, whatever it is, the hair, that could have potentially especially gotten onto the burlap sack or the tape, you know, just from him using items from their home. So I think it's being read into a lot more than it needs to be. But then again, like, I wouldn't count it out either.
Okay, Angela says, but his hair wasn't found on them. Just her hair was. I mean, is it synthetic?
I was thinking more just a piece, but that's fine.
I don't know. I don't know. That's why I said, okay, so he has a hearing coming up in February. And like I said, this trial isn't going to happen for quite a while. So we have some time to catch up on it. Well, I do. I have some time to catch up on it. Yeah, more rabbit holes. I like barely even touched this list, and here we are. We're only at 12. If you guys are familiar with the case, what?
We'll go really fast.
I'll try. I can't. I'm not good at it. The case of Dylan Rounds, if you guys are familiar with this case, Dylan Rounds went missing. He has still not been found. His parents do a lot with Nate Eaton on East Idaho News. They have charged James Brenner, who was many have called him a squatter, but I think he actually had permission to stay there, who was on the property next to Dylan Rounds. This one, it's another case of the victim capturing something on camera, unintentional. Well, actually, it's almost like the perpetrator caught something on camera. He was recorded cleaning the gun and stuff with Dylan's phone.
Right.
Hi, Lisa Kay. Good to see you. Thank you for covering Dylan Rounds. I haven't kept up with it, and I wish I could have. I have so many questions. Well, I can't cover it too much because otherwise we'll be here forever. I'm trying to just go through and do like updates. But I do have a lot of coverage on Dylan Rounds from when he went missing, and I'm really surprised that he's not taking a plea, to be honest with you. But I'm sure that he probably has to say something about where he put him.
Right.
This one caused a lot of controversy on social media too, because then you had the PI guy who came in. It was like causing all kinds of issues with different creators, and it just was such a cluster. I ended up not covering it continuously because I was like, once again, like once these cases just become so much, it's hard because everybody just starts fighting with each other.
Yeah.
But they took the death penalty off the table for him.
Oh.
Which I think is also kind of weird. And this is all over essentially that he was parking his grain truck. He parked it in a shed garage type of thing that was on the property where this James Brenner was kind of squatting.
Yeah.
It's a mess. Okay. All right, so this case is a bit of an older case, not too old, but a bit of an older case. I don't know if you guys have been around on social media. Wait, is there much fighting in true crime? You hadn't noticed. I'm telling you, it's just crazy. It's crazy. So Lisa Snyder, this lady is a piece of work, and I'm so glad that she actually has a trial date set. It's been pushed off and pushed off. I'm hoping that they actually follow through with it. You guys have been around for a while. You're going to remember her. She actually created her own Facebook group to help get justice, and sympathy for herself around the death of her two children, who she claimed the older boy, Connor, had killed his little sister and then killed himself with a dog leash by hanging them in the basement. Well, come to find out, that was not true. And she had actually purchased the dog leash / chain that she had just purchased it within days before of their deaths. Heavy sigh. Yeah. You guys, it is, I think it's 2019. I think it was September 2019. Let me just double check the date. I'm almost positive that's when it was, but I remember like I was in her Facebook group. It was very weird. She turned down a plea deal. I know the judge actually rejected a plea deal that they were working out. It was September 2019.
Okay.
Here, I'll read you guys this article. So the judge rejects the plea deal in the Lisa Snyder case, accused of killing her 2 children as she goes to trial. A Berks County mother who was expected to plead guilty to killing her 2 children instead is headed to trial. Judge Teresa Johnson rejected Lisa Snyder's guilty plea Friday. Snyder had sought to plead guilty by reason of insanity to 2 counts of third-degree murder. Judge Johnson immediately rejected the plea and left the courtroom without further discussion. Snyder is charged with killing her 2 children, 8-year-old Connor and 4-year-old Brindley, by hanging them in the basement of their home on the afternoon of September 23rd, 2019. The siblings were found unresponsive inside the home. They were flown to the hospital where they were taken off of life support. Previously released court documents showed Snyder reported finding her children in the basement hanging about 3 feet apart from each other at the end of a plastic-coated dog lead that had been wrapped around the basement's main support beam. Autopsies on the 2 children showed the cause of the death to be hanging and ruled their deaths as homicides. Authorities at the time said Snyder blamed her son Connor for the deaths, telling investigators the boy was bullied in school and wanted to commit suicide, but did not want to die alone. It is a claim that the investigators said they found no evidence of. Multiple school officials and family members reported that Connor never indicated them that he was being bullied or wanted to kill himself. There was no evidence of bullying whatsoever that anybody was able to obtain. The investigation that was also included a forensic examination of 5 cellular phones. So, since you guys don't know about this case, I'm going to tell you something that's going to be really gross. But I'm going to tell you anyway. On these devices that they found, they originally had charged her with doing things with the dog.
Oh, yeah. I remember that now.
That she had recorded the dog doing sexual things to her.
Yeah.
They threw out the animal cruelty charges. They didn't want to do those at the same time. Google records, according to detectives, revealed searches for carbon monoxide in a car. How long does it take to die? Almost got away with it. Almost got away with it. Best episodes, hanging yourself. Do a hybrid car produce carbon monoxide? Does a hybrid car produce carbon monoxide while idling? And then the children were found on September 23rd. Hi, Salty C. So, yeah. That's, if you guys aren't familiar with it, and that's a case that you would be interested in following, her name is Lisa Snyder. The children were Connor and Brindley Snyder. She is set to go to court on March 4th of 2024. I think her Facebook group might still be around, but it was closed. I don't know if you can get into it anymore. Maybe they took it down. They should have. But anyway, that's it. That's that case. So, I know. I mean, you probably, like, when you put all these together, it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
God. I'm just like, what are we doing?
Oh, man. Yeah, and then on to Lindsay's case with the cutest kids ever.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to talk about this one?
Well, I don't know many of the updates. This would be just things that I remember is she was potentially dealing with some postpartum psychosis.
Allegedly.
Sent her husband out to get dinner from a very specific place that was a very specific distance away. Did she also send him to Walgreens? Walgreens and
She had him doing all kinds of errands, and then he was going to pick up dinner.
Correct. Yes. And while he was gone, she killed the kids.
Gallons of ice cream.
Okay, yeah, it was there was a lot to this case. I believe the baby or the boy, one of them was potentially still alive when the ambulance got there, but passed away at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I haven't really looked into the case since I followed it when it was happening. I don't know. There was a lot to it. And then
this one's, I think, torn the community in half. With some believe that it was postpartum psychosis, and others believe that no, she's
utilizing
evil.
that diagnosis as her opt out. Correct. But didn't she also try to harm herself in the end as well?
Well, she did. She jumped, and then she jumped off the balcony,
right.
And then there was the rumors that she was paralyzed. I don't know if that ever ended up being, but she was in the hospital for most of her court hearings, and then they were talking about her being either incompetent or, not. And he, from when I was following this, the husband was defending her, saying that was not her, that she was. Is she paralyzed? I know that she had been. I didn't know if it was a permanent or what, but I know that she's done most of her court hearings from a hospital bed. But this one definitely divides the community, because some just think that she was just evil. She's just an evil mom who killed her kids and then tried to kill herself. That there was so much planning around it, and the Google searches, that it's hard to think that she had postpartum psychosis when she purposely planned for him to be gone as long as he was, long enough for her to do what she did.
Well, and I'm pretty sure that there were some types of Google searches and stuff like that where it was somewhat premeditated, but depending on when those searches are, she could still potentially utilize that in the postpartum psychosis, whatever, if that's what she's saying is happening. Depending on when those searches were, those could still.
It's also, it doesn't just come and go. I mean, she would have been in this mental state for a little while. This one's gonna come down to a lot of clinical testimony on what it happens.
Right. It'll be very interesting.
And there can be planning in psychosis, but the time frame is super important. Yep. You nailed it now.
Thank you.
So she was a nurse. Yeah. I don't know if she had gone back to work. I don't know those kinds of details. I don't know if she had gone back to work after having the baby yet, though. For a mother to unalive 3 children, she has to have something very wrong with her. If she had postpartum psychosis, she still needs to be locked up.
I don't know.
Well, I think that was like the husband's point, was that he thinks that she needs to be in a mental place. Like she needs mental health help.
Yeah.
Yeah, the psychs will be the key. That's going to be a tough one. Okay.
And she was being treated by doctors. It wasn't something that just came out of nowhere. This was something that she was trying to get help for ahead of time from different psychologists, psychiatrists, through her job, because she was a labor and delivery nurse. So there is somewhat of a history there that can push her towards having this as a defense. It's not something that she just pulled this out of her ass after it happened. So I do think that part's interesting.
You want to talk about this guy?
I have said from the very beginning that this picture of Brian Walsh looks like he swallowed a shoe sideways. But it's the weirdest thing, because he does not look like this in any other pictures.
He looks like this in almost all of his pictures.
Just in the ones of his initial court hearings, but beforehand when they were first married and stuff like that, he does not have a square head in all of these.
Well, only because I think he loses some weight after he's locked up. But
your face, like, he looks normal in newer photos, which is why when I first saw this, I was like, I can't
still
even
looks
look at it. I try, yes. See, okay, so he still does a little bit, I
he
suppose.
has the big jaw.
Huh. Well, either way, still looks like he swallowed a shoe sideways. But Anna Walsh went missing. This is another one of those where you can add it if anyone's making a list of dumbass people who Google everything before they do it and then they commit a crime. That's him. He was already on, yes, he was already found guilty and awaiting sentencing for, I want to say, art forgery. He didn't do it, but he was selling the art forgery, and he had an ankle bracelet on when all of the art fraud was, like, he had it for the art fraud. And so when he killed Anna, his wife, he literally was, yes, looking stuff up on his kids' tablets and just Googling, can you cut someone with a saw, and like shit like that, where it was like, dude,
Well, she had like $2 million in life insurance on herself.
Right. And then it was one of those.
Didn't he think she was having an affair? Was she having an affair, or did he just think she was?
I can't remember if it was ever confirmed or not. I know that there was certain pictures that were floating around of who she potentially was having the affair with, whatever. But this all started to when he claimed that she had to go somewhere for work.
Chicago,
and
right?
Got an Uber. No, I think she was going to DC because they're from Maryland.
Yep.
And so then he's like, she got an Uber, and I just assumed she was traveling, blah blah blah. And then Uber was like, no, we didn't. And then he went out of, during this time frame, he went out of the border for his ankle monitor to a Home Depot, like out of his, what's the word? When you have an ankle monitor, you're only allowed to go a certain...
Your perimeter? Your
Yes.
perimeter?
He went out of the perimeter and went to a Home Depot where he's like seen buying shovels and shit and like tarps. So it was just,
But then didn't he? It was his mom that hired the private investigator to follow her around when she was working in DC.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's there's a lot more to it. But I believe since all this has happened, there has been a lot more. They were able to find, I think the freaking saw was found in their basement. Was it not, with her blood on it? It was either found in their basement or...
like DNA evidence is going to be the big thing.
Yeah.
Let me see. It was prosecutor reveals more online searches.
Recently, online searches just for shits and giggles. How do you cut someone up with a saw?
He was using the kid's cell phone. 10 ways to dispose of a body if you really need to.
How long before a body starts to smell? Hang on, I got the list. It's loading.
A hacksaw, a hatchet, and her purse. Yep. Tossing heavy bags into... He was seen on surveillance putting bags into dumpsters. Cell phone data showed that he visited a dumpster near his mom's home. Oh, God.
Okay, so before her death, he said, "What's the best date to divorce for a man?" And then he started with how long before a body starts to smell, how to stop a body from decomposing, how to embalm a body, 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to, how long for someone to go missing to inherit, can you throw away body parts, can identification be made with partial remains, dismemberment and best ways to dispose of a body, how to remove blood from a wooden floor, What happens when you put body parts in ammonia? Is it better to throw crime scene clothes away or wash them?
Why would you Google this?
Can you? What happens to hair on a dead body? Can baking soda make a body smell good? It's just one of those things where it's just like, you've got to be shitting me. And he thought he was going to get away with it because he did all these searches on his young child's iPad.
But he didn't think they were going to take the kid's iPad.
Well, why would they? The kid wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Because they take everything. He probably should have searched that. What devices would they? That probably should have been his first search. What devices will they actually confiscate in a murder investigation?
It was just there's the number in like the last 2 years of cases of people and their search history being the reason that they shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah. Well, you'd think that they would be like, that should be another search. What are the Google searches that get you in trouble in true crime?
We've said this multiple times of like, if we ever get in trouble for something and they go look at ours and it's just like full of the scariest shit.
I'm like, I hope that at least like as I'm doing Google searches, especially when I'm doing like the little mini documentaries, because I have such majorly weird Google searches, I'm like, I hope that they pay attention to like what video I put out at the time and why I would be searching the types of things. Like when I did Suzanne Morphew's video, there was like a lot of crazy searches. I'm like, I really hope that they're like somebody goes and matches this up to like the fact that I did a video at this time about stuff like that. I don't know. You should have stayed in the closest public library.
You spell library wrong. I tell you that 100%.
The library. So if you guys, this is another really tough one, and I don't want to go into too many details because there's another case I'll end up sitting here. So Kamari Holland was 5 years old, and her mom is Christy, the lady here in the middle. Christy actually sold her daughter with the purposes of this gentleman, Jeremy Williams, to be able to do what he wanted with her sexually, physically, and anything. She was absolutely tortured before she was killed. So I'll read it to you. So this was 2021. So on December 12, 2021, 35-year-old Christy Sipple left her home in Columbus, Georgia, and drove to Phoenix City to visit her 2 children who she'd lost custody of. They lived with their dad at the time, and she was allowed to have visitations during the weekends under supervision. However, the kid's dad at that time just let her take the children. And when she was supposed to return them, he was obviously shocked that Kamari was not with her. Yeah. And she goes on TV and says, she was my life. I lived for her. She was my baby girl. Don't harm her wherever, like saying that she had been kidnapped, and it just terrible. And then it obviously comes out that she had actually delivered her daughter to this man to do the unfathomable.
Yeah.
And so I could not find, I don't know if you guys happen to know, I could not find court dates for either of these guys or these people. Let me see. I'll do one more search real quick.
I didn't really follow this case. I remember hearing about it.
The last big update was that he was actually on suicide watch, and his attorneys were fighting to get him off of suicide watch, and the judge denied it.
So that he could just do it? Like, why were they fighting to get him off of it?
Because they don't think that he should be on suicide watch anymore. So he, she was found in his home, and then he tells them what happened. Let me see. I cannot find a date though. So I don't know if you guys happen to find a date on this. If they have any updates on court dates for either of these guys, just let me know, because I don't have that in here.
Yeah.
This was another one that I was actually very shocked to find that there was no updates on Oakley Snow. Maybe somebody here happens to have an update on this one, but this is another drugs. Yeah, he essentially confesses that she was given to him. Not that he what he did to her, but he essentially confesses that he bought her from the mom. Yeah.
I don't remember this one as well. I know I didn't cover it, but I followed it. And was she not supposed to have custody of her at that time, of Oakley?
Hold on. So let me go back up because Lisa knows a lot about this case. That he filmed it. SIPL starts February 26th. Okay. Let me add that. February 26th, 2024. That he filmed it.
Mm,
That's how they caught him.
wonderful.
Okay, if you find the one on Jeremy, let me know and I'll put that in here too. I know Oakley's case well enough. This is so sad. Christie, trials February 2024. Yeah. Okay, so I got that one in there. Let me know if you guys find Jeremy's because I don't have that one in there. Okay, so Oakley was reported missing, or and taken by the boyfriend or I don't even think he's the dad. Somebody in chat's going to know more about this one than I do.
No.
He's not the dad. It was her
mom,
boyfriend.
he was not the dad. He was just the mom's boyfriend.
And I know that she was found in a dresser drawer of like an abandoned drug house.
Yep.
But I was actually very surprised that I could not find much on her case.
It went very viral as she was missing, but I think it was another case too where they did find her seemingly quickly, if I remember correctly. It wasn't super long from the time that she was reported missing, but I don't exactly remember a ton about it. But I swear there was something to it regarding her dad or something like that where she was not necessarily even supposed to be with the mom or be able to travel with the mom. I don't remember exactly.
I'm going to look up real quick. Oakley Snow. Let's see if there's anything I can find in here. No, she was fine. That's essentially what I already know. It was a month-long search for the missing Oklahoma toddler.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to do more research into this one. I'm surprised that there wasn't more coverage later. It appears that after a month long, desperate search for missing Oklahoma toddler came to a tragic end. It's one of the cases that broke your heart. Indiana authorities charged her mom and her mom's boyfriend for alleged roles in the toddler's disappearance and death. Was killed just a month before her second birthday. Oakley's father reported her missing after Marshall took off to Indianapolis with Oakley. And the 7-month-old. Oh, that's right. She did. She had a baby son with her. I forgot about that. They took off. They flew to they went to Colorado. Oh my gosh, this picture is too cute. I have to show you guys this picture. I cannot with this. Look at how cute that freaking face is.
I know. Blue eyes.
OMG. How cute is that? Oh, girl. Calling a house probably a stretch. It was like an abandoned structure. She was found in the dresser drawer. They choked her. They would whoop her and spank her and occasionally choke her. This is what he would do. Because she urinated in her diaper. She held the fork wrong. That's what the documents say. She cried because she was hungry, and the crying agitated him, so he threw her on the floor. Says that specifically remembers ordering her to bounce on her bouncy ball. And it was challenging because she was too tiny. And when she couldn't bounce, he would get madder and louder. He put Oakley in the bathtub and tried to douse her in cold water to wake her up. After she ran into the hallway to find Waters holding Oakley in his arms with her eyes closed and with a mix of blood and spit dripping from her mouth when she tried to exhale. They'd put her in the bathtub to try to wake her up.
Yeah.
And then he told her to say that they dropped Oakley off at the hospital.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. You said both of theirs are set for July? I couldn't find that. Okay, so July 2024. I'll add that in. Thank you. This is why I'm like, I'm going to need your guys' help because there's a lot. Yeah. Oakley Carlson, last I checked, so Oakley Carlson and Michael Monkey Vaughn are not on the list because nobody's been charged with them. So I didn't put them on here, and I actually had Michael Monkey Vaughn on here, and it was actually really hard for me to delete him off of this because, man, they deserve justice too. But because there's no charges, I can't put them on the list of upcoming trials because there is no trial for them. This is the same with Suzanne Morphy. Like, I want her on here too. So, yeah. Okay. I hope both people live a long. I know. I'm like, why are we only at this incorrect T? That's why I was shocked about it being found in the dresser. I had the wrong Oakley. Oh yeah, okay, Oakley Carlson. Yeah, no, Oakley Carlson's still not found.
No.
Aw.
Oh, nice, Manuel.
She finally fessed up to where he put her. Oh, are you rambling, Rome? Are you going to go? Oh. I didn't know that, Mary. Jeremy Williams is now charged with killing his own child? I'll have to look into that. Okay, so Leila Cavett I have a halfway done little mini documentary on Leila Cavett's story. So Leila Cavett, you guys might remember that her son was actually found wandering around in a parking lot of an apartment complex. And that's how the family ended up knowing that she was missing, because the law enforcement, so she was from Georgia and had gone and driven with her son over to Florida. And the family didn't know that. And they saw pictures of their grandson and nephew on the police websites and like the news saying, hey, we're looking for anybody who knows who this, baby is. And the aunt ended up being like, that's my nephew. Where's my sister? Leila has still not been found. This is a very windy road that hopefully I can finish that documentary and get it out to you guys. She ended up going to meet Shannon Ryan, who's this gentleman who is a self-proclaimed witch doctor and had apprentices, and she was potentially going to be an apprentice of his. He ends up allegedly doing something to her and then taking the baby boy and putting him out in the parking lot and just leaving him. And then he proceeds to go on Facebook Lives and tell people to leave him alone, that he didn't do anything to her and whatnot. Hi, Tia.
So
You
this
found-
is
it
the
was
lady
crazy.
who was found in the parking lot, correct?
Correct.
By like
Yeah.
neighbors or something.
A lady who just a lady who was going there to visit somebody else who lived in the apartments heard him, and he was wearing a t-shirt and a dirty diaper. So she starts going and knocking on all the doors in the apartment complex, like, do you guys know whose kid this is? He's just out here. And that nobody did. One lady ends up changing his diaper, and then they call the police because they don't know what else to do. And that's how, and then the little boy goes to the police station, and then they post it, and that's, yeah. He's a self-proclaimed witch doctor. So his trial has been pushed out and pushed out and pushed out. As of right now, it is set for March 8th of 2024. Little man actually lives with his aunt now, and seems to be doing very well. He's much bigger than this. And I won't show his pictures right now, but he ended up being okay, which I mean,
yeah, don't know.
He still maintains that he had nothing to do with it. He had nothing to do with her disappearance and doesn't know where she is. I think actually he took off from Florida and went to Texas for a hot minute, and then was doing all of his Facebook Lives. Yeah.
She's so pretty.
Oh, she's gorgeous. And so are her sisters.
Are they? I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I feel like I can finish that, and then you'll be able to watch the documentary on it.
Yeah. Oh. So that one's March 2024. Okay.
Well, I'm texting my husband. Okay.
Tell him to meet Thod.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was telling him. Like, he's gonna have to cook dinner. Hi, Richard. Hi, Amelia. Okay, so went to some mountains too. Yeah, he's just a weird dude. I don't even understand how she got wrapped up in that. She was really, no, they have not found Leela Cavett. She has not been found. But the little man is doing okay. So this one is titled like the OnlyFans murder. I don't know if you guys are overly familiar with this one. It was kind of popular when it happened. She said it was self-defense. She actually stabbed him. There's tons of videos out there of these two and recordings, and it's just the domestic situation here is horrendous. These two should not have been around each other. I mean, it's really bad.
The video of them in the lobby of the apartment is crazy, and yeah, there was a lot to this case. But not only that, is she wasn't necessarily arrested right away, so she was still online after it, and she's still potentially making money off of her OnlyFans and stuff like that now, even though she's being held in jail. They have done a lot of how did she claim that he was coming towards her and then it happened accidentally? I know that there were some, I don't know who they said it was, detectives or someone who knows what they're doing was able to just say, actually, these are like his wounds were not from an accidental stabbing. It was someone with coming down in a forceful, motion. And his family's really against her. And it's just, she said she tossed the knife at him.
Yeah, and it just happened to. But they say it was like, no, it was close contact, like where the angle of where the knife entered.
Yeah.
So there's no trial. She was supposed to have already gone to trial, I thought.
Yeah. It was supposed to start like December 14th or something like that. It got postponed. She's had a few different hearings. Just the typical trying to get out of it. It was self-defense. It was this, it was that. And so, yeah, the next ones are January 9th. We found these right beforehand, but it was January 9th for the motions, right? Or the default.
Right. To file the default motions.
Yep. And then February 22nd was a hearing for a motion to dismiss, but there wasn't a ton of information regarding that. I remember, though, the one thing that sticks out to me is the picture that was taken of her after this all happened from afar. Do you guys remember that, where she's sitting there in like the blood clothes, like petting her dog and stuff?
Oh, the one from the hallway?
Or
like out, like, because it's kind of like out in the hallway area. That one where she got the robe on?
Is it where she's sitting?
I don't know. There's a few different ones of her because they took all the pictures of her when she's sitting out there with like her robe and her pajama pants,
I can't
covered
remember
in blood.
exactly. It looked like it was from like an outdoor camera. Yeah, through a window. That's the one I'm thinking of, Chelsea. Through the window.
Okay. This is Courtney Clenny. I think she was an abuser too. I think that she was toxic, and I think that he probably just really loved her and just was like,
yeah,
maybe she's going to get over this. She was extremely jealous of everything that he did.
Yeah. But I think too she was very controlling and demanding too, because she did make a significant amount of money doing what she did. And there was, I'm trying to think, so there was also, she was on a podcast, and she just, the way she was answering was like she was the shit and everyone was below her. Like that was everything that she was answering. It was just not.
Mm-hmm. So no trial date though, and she's filed motions to dismiss, and so we got a couple hearings coming up, but not an actual trial yet.
Correct.
Even though she was supposed to have a trial last year, so I don't really understand why that didn't happen, or like what they ended up filing, because I wasn't overly paying attention to why it got postponed.
Yeah.
It's Cash Gernon. Are you familiar with Cash Gernon, Mel?
Is he the one that guy went into the house and abducted him?
Yes. So I'm going to tell you right now, I do not cover this case. I know about the case. I hate this case. It makes me physically ill. Cash Gernon looks like Jeremy, my baby.
He does.
They were the same age when this happened.
Yeah.
So I struggled. So my friend Amanda Zvita, who hasn't been on YouTube for quite a while, but she covered Cash Gernon, and she would kind of just keep me up to date on what was happening. It was terrible. He has a twin brother. I'm just going to touch on this, and I have to move past it because I will. Like I can't even express to you how this makes me. It makes me. I can't.
There's video of it.
I couldn't. It's terrible.
No, I'm just saying there is.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Yes, there is. There's him and his twin brother were laying in bed, and he came into the house and took him. And then there's like photos of where he was found. It's really bad. He has been deemed incompetent for a long time now. So there's nothing happening in that case. Nobody really even understands what it was, but there was other videos that came out where he was like creeping around the neighborhood and like looking in fences, and he just obviously was a weird kid. And just did something very weird. I don't know if there's not going to really ever probably be an answer for this one. I don't know what would have ever driven him to do it. It's just heartbreaking. And I saw you guys just come in. Hi, Jax. Hi, NorCal Jim. Good to see you. I've seen you forever. Hi, BR. Yeah. So I do follow his grandma has a Facebook page. I do follow because she posts a lot of pictures of his twin. Just him growing up and with his, with older sisters and stuff. And I do just so I can, I don't know, keep an eye on him and just see how he's doing. But it's horrendous. It's horrendous. The fact that there's just people out there that are just fucking crazy and can come into your house and take your baby.
Right.
There's a whole other side to this story, and I should probably, I'll just mention it real quick before we move on. The dad had custody of the boys but left them at his ex-girlfriend's house. The mom was trying to locate them and there's like a whole custody thing there. And so they weren't living with either parent. They were living at the dad's ex-girlfriend's. That was also a huge issue, but it's just, that one's like really hard. it's really hard for me personally.
Yeah.
So this case, most people don't actually know about it, but I think more people should, and I should probably do something on it so that more people know. This case is actually not too far from me. So it's a little bit of an older case, and I don't know why he hasn't gone to trial yet either. This is a lot of abuse. The dad is Bryce, who's here on the left. And then Noah was the younger of the two siblings. He had an older sister. And the mom didn't live with them, but would like stay in her car, like in the parking lot. It's a very odd situation. I don't really know. I think she ended up taking a plea. But she ended up reporting her son missing when she was going to go and get him. And and they ended up taking the little girl out of the house, and she told them that she knew he was missing, and the stuff that she ends up telling them about what Bryce had done to Noah and made her do to Noah, which was a lot of the same abuse we hear in other cases of sticking him in scalding hot baths, sticking him in freezing cold baths. I don't know why I can't get that to stop doing that. So he was indicted by a grand jury. So this is California, FYI, if anybody wants to look more into this. Oh, he's such a little cutie pie. He was indicted by the grand jury. He was seen, I'm trying to remember all the details to this now. He was seen on surveillance camera buying a bunch of supplies, and he took all those supplies out into like a more deserty area. One of the supplies was a blender.
Oh.
So trying to pull up some of the older information on it. Continues civil attorney.
Plumbing company was spotted at the apartment.
So the plumbers went out to check the drains because they were looking to see if he had done something there, but they did find out that he ended up going and taking him out. Like, he took a trash bin, gloves. Let me see if I can find all the list of the things that he actually took out there with him. Drain cleaner, plastic trash bags, gloves, the trash can. He took it out to like the middle of the desert, and then they never found Noah. But he had the daughter helping to abuse him. So I cannot figure out why he has not gone to trial. This is, this is another case of not to stay on it for too long, but it's another case where CPS was involved, and yet the kids were still with the family, and they shouldn't have been. There was already claims of abuse, and they didn't take the kids. The kids shouldn't have been there. Like, Noah never should have been there.
Yeah, the latest update is April of last year.
Yeah, I can't figure out when this guy's ever going to go to trial. He keeps getting it pushed back.
His mom says here that his mom, facing child endangerment charges related to the murder and torture, is scheduled to be sentenced Monday. This was last April. So she was sentenced.
Yeah, I think she took a plea.
Yeah, in April. But okay.
Hey, Twisted Gemini. What's up, Victoria? Okay, so this is a more recent case. I shouldn't say more recent. I mean, like, probably a lot more people who have just followed true crime over the last couple of years probably remember Amari Nicholson. Amari was left with his mom's boyfriend while she went to Colorado, I think, to visit her mom. They lived in Vegas. And when she returned, her son, Amari Nicholson, was gone. And so they reported him missing. He tried to say that somebody else came and took him. they both went on the news and talked about how they just wanted him back and so on and so forth. This guy, the boyfriend, Terrell Rhodes, had actually killed him because I believe it was because he had urinated on himself and he got mad. And so he beat him and killed him and dumped his body, but then stood there with his girlfriend pleading for the baby to be returned. He ended up arrested. And then when he was in the interrogation room, he grabbed the cop's gun and tried to get them to do like suicide by cop.
No.
So he's they did find Amari behind like apartment complex or behind like a store. It was rumored that he was found in a dumpster, but I think that ended up being proven not true, that he was actually like on the side of the dumpster. Not that that makes it any better, but if you guys can't tell, I follow a lot of kids cases. I don't know why I do this stuff. Yeah, a lot of it's over potty issues. Ramble and Rome. That's a very weird thing, especially when these babies are, 2 years old.
Yeah.
All right, this one's all you. What's the update on Madeline?
Okay, so Maddie's case took place last year. It all started March 29th. No, 29th. It was a Friday. Her and the father of her children, Adam, dropped the kids off at school, at daycare on a Friday morning. She worked at Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. And she was supposed to go in that day. She never did. By the end of that Friday, she hadn't talked to anyone. Her family were reaching out to her friends. And one of her friends ended up going over to her house. Couldn't find anything except for Maddie's van was there. And she was missing for 69 days. Come to find out that Adam had picked the kids up from school, which was unusual, and driven them to his parents' house in Mabel, Minnesota. And she was missing, like I said, for 69 days till June 9th, when her body was found off of a rural maintenance road it was only about a 5-minute drive from his parents' residence, wrapped in a sheet with a towel around her neck. So, for those of you that don't know, I'm from Minnesota. I am really good friends with some of the people directly involved in this case. It is a case I hold very dear to me. I will be going to the trial when it occurs. But the day her body was found, Adam, the father of her children, who they had recently broke up, he ended up, the day she was found, being charged with second-degree murder, because in the state of Minnesota, you cannot be charged with first-degree murder unless you have a grand jury indictment, which is one of those things about Minnesota that I don't get. But regardless, there was a secret grand jury, and he did end up I want to say it was October, was indicted on 2 counts of first-degree murder. So he is now charged with 2 counts of first degree, 2 counts of second degree. He does have bail, but he hasn't met bail. And they just had his omnibus hearing on December 17th, I think. And obviously, Adam contested it. So they have a contested omnibus hearing. What did I say the dates were? The March 19th and March 20th at 9 a.m. And then another on April 30th at 9 a.m. So,
type apparently.
What?
I can't type apparently. I don't know what I just put in there. All kinds of weird shit.
So these are all like labeled as contested omnibus hearings, which when I actually did look it up, like within the Minnesota courts, it just stated that it's kind of like a mini trial, but just with the judge and no jury. So they said there's a lot of legal issues that are raised, facts and testimony are raised. The defendant could testify, they could not. But it's pretty much like a mini trial that they just put out there, but it's not out in the public, it's just to the judge.
Okay.
To kind of get everything thrown in or
A lot of
everything
places call that an in-camera hearing, which is ironic because there's no cameras. They call it an in-camera hearing.
Maybe.
When there's, I'm just saying, like, that's what it's like in a lot of all states are different. So it's like that's commonly like just called an in-camera hearing, which never made sense because there's no cameras. So
right. Yeah. So those are like the next 3 dates. I know there's a due date during January here. I want to say it's like the 12th or sometime in the teens, where his attorneys have to allow him to look through things. He had asked for more time to be able to read things over on his own. And also, just in case you guys are wondering, because I did say he's the father of her children. In the state of Minnesota, when you give birth to someone, even if you are the father on the birth certificate, you still have to go to court to put it into the court records that you have rights to your children. Adam did not do that. So he did not actually have any parental rights over his children when they were born. And so obviously with all this going on, they are thriving, happy, beautiful children, and they are with Maddie's family, safe and sound. So, yeah. So that's kind of where everything sits now. But as you guys know, this is a case that I cover really closely.
Yes. Thank goodness. Okay, so the next one is Larry Maletti. I can't stand this guy either. His wife, May or Maya, depending on, because one was her nickname, Maletti, they are from Chula Vista, California. She went missing, and he played the, oh my gosh, she left me for another man, and she took off and just left me and her kids. Her sister has done an outstanding job. Her sister and her brother-in-law have done an outstanding job of keeping her face as much in the media as they possibly can. She still has not been found, and he was arrested finally, for her disappearance. He actually had his preliminary hearing last year and was set to go to trial. And about 2 months before he was going to go to trial, his attorney said, sorry, I have to quit because he can't afford me any longer. And he essentially said that the reason he couldn't afford the attorney was because of everything that happened with May's family. And that like he needed, the money from the house and everything to be able to afford the attorney. And they were like, yeah, no. So he had to be issued public defenders. And so his trial got pushed out another year until August 24th of 2024. So essentially she went missing. He went for a 12-ish hour drive with the youngest child. She went missing January 7th of 2021. And so the two older kids were at home and doing like schooling, like on the computer. He took his youngest child and in the car with him and drove approximately 12 hours. So 6 hours to one location, or the 4 hours plus stayed there for however long to do whatever he did. The neighbors' ring cameras, or not ring cameras, but their security cameras picked up gun shots that night that she went missing, and also picked up that the kids were playing in the backyard at about 10 o'clock that night. He called his uncle, I think it was his uncle, if I remember correctly, called his uncle to come over, and him and the aunt came over, and he put a freezer in, like they took a freezer from his garage. So very, 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 very odd. She's, like I said, she's still not been found. There are a lot of Justice for Maya Maletti Facebook groups. His preliminary hearing was filmed, and you can watch that if you are interested. His trial, what'd I say? August 24th, 2024. Melissa. Wasn't he practicing witchcraft? Oh gosh, yes he was. He also had, yes he was, Shay Benet.
Put the love text on her.
He put, yeah, he had like weird things that he put under her bed. He was recording her. He was essentially stalking her. She was trying to leave. I'm trying to go faster through these, so I'm leaving out a lot of stuff. I apologize. She was trying to leave. The theory is that she had actually gotten an email back from an attorney that she had, a divorce attorney she had contacted, and he found it. In the preliminary hearing, that attorney actually testifies and almost breaks down, saying like that she feels like that her response, like to confirm their appointment the next day, was a catalyst for why he ended up killing her. So you could tell that weighed very heavily on her, and like how she, you know, probably shouldn't have responded the way that she did, where he would have been able to find it. But yeah, so he was putting, he had like a little altar, and he was putting like stuff underneath of her bed. It was, yeah, it's very, very strange. I think I have that one on there, Mary, that his preliminary is coming up. Yeah, so sorry, because we still have a few more to go through, so I was trying.
Yeah, we're gonna try to power through these ones.
I was trying to cut down on them, because otherwise people aren't going to want to watch 3 hours of us just talking about all these different cases, I don't think. But Matthew Coleman, if you guys remember him, it was also a Southern California. He was a dad who got involved in like QAnon, like 4chan, and a lot of the conspiracy things going on in the world. And he ended up taking his 2 children down to Mexico, where he killed them because he believed that they had serpent blood. I can timestamp the video. I do need to do that. Yeah, I will do that. He believed his children had serpent DNA.
Yeah.
If you guys, I don't know if you guys remember the girl, and then they were reported missing, and then it all kind of came out that he had been diving into these really crazy rabbit holes for at least a year. So he has currently been deemed incompetent by both the defense experts and the prosecution experts, that he is not going to, there's not going to be a trial for him probably for quite a while. He's under major psychological care. So, and then the wife came forward that he was a great dad, great husband, totally normal guy. You know, everything, nothing seemed off until he started getting involved in had this mental break where he was getting involved in all these conspiracy things.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, this is probably one of the least known cases that I am so surprised, because it was so big when it was happening, which was like, I think 2019. Let me look it up real quick. I think it was 2019. It was. Way down the rabbit hole, and before that, seemingly a normal, peaceful guy. Yeah, into nature, hiking. Yeah, he was. Okay, so this is Amaya Robertson. This is, I don't know, kids having kids and doing dumb kid shit, and then trying to cover it up is where I'm kind of at. This is her mom, Amber Robertson. And this was her mom's boyfriend. I will probably spend too much time going down. Not the father. No. Father, I think, ended up being like a 40-year-old guy.
How old is she?
She was like 19 at the time. 18, 19. She was young. She's not very old. She's got like 7 kids though.
At 19?
Now, by now she does. She's had twins. She's had all kinds of kids. Lots and lots of kids. Lots of drugs, lots of kids.
Okay.
this is from Indiana. They were at like a hotel or motel, and there's pictures of her at the swimming pool. Nobody has confessed to anything of what happened. They have never found Amaya, and it was said that he took Amaya to the babysitter's house. This was a huge thing on Facebook because the neighbors of the babysitter would go live all the time, like telling the world what was happening at the babysitter's house. So he says he took the baby to the babysitter's house, and then he left. So then the babysitter was like a prime suspect. They ended up digging up her whole backyard. It was just I can't even tell you. It was just crazy rabbit holes of different things that, like I said, there was drugs. They were staying at like a drug motel. It was just weird. Finally, I swear, like a year and a half at least went by before anybody was arrested. He was like in hiding. They were supposed to go to trial end of last year, got postponed. They both requested an extension, but they still haven't found her. But I know she's had like 4 kids since baby Amaya went missing. I think she was pregnant at the time Amaya went missing, but not with his kid, with some other guy's kid.
Huh.
Oh, Alyssa, you remember this one? Yeah, it was like early 2019 ish. I'm trying to let me see if I can find you the date.
Crazy.
Disappeared in 2019. She was 8 months old at the time. Oh, I don't know what I just did there. She's got 4 felony charges of neglect on a dependent, neglect resulting in serious bodily injury. She told the judge that she has 3 children and is currently pregnant. So she was pregnant when she went to trial. I think she was pregnant with twins.
Damn.
Trying to find the exact date. March 2019. Yeah, he said that he dropped her off the babysitter's. The babysitter said no. Mom goes on camera, doesn't report her missing. I think it was like for 6 days. Hey, sweet Melissa. You remember all these cases? Maybe you should reach out for help. Well, we're here because I remember them too. Oh, Jamie, you followed this one too? Yeah, this was big when it was going down because there was just so much chaos. It actually reminds me a lot of like how it's a little bit before TikTok time, so everything was Facebook lives, but it reminds me of like how Savannah Soto's is now, where everybody was going live and you had to go to 50,000 places to even understand what was going on. So they're supposedly going to trial. We'll see if it actually happens.
Yeah.
Okay. I think most people probably know this case too. Corey Richins.
Yeah. So
Husband overdoses.
Yep.
Go ahead. You can do this one.
Husband overdoses. Come to find out that this isn't the first time necessarily that he was supposed to die. We find out that there was a lot behind the scenes of Corey trying to kill him in different ways, different things of her cooking something and him getting really sick. It got to the point where he ended up changing a lot of the names of his businesses and his life insurances so that she was no longer on them. She then went in and tried to change them back herself. And then he ends up dying one night. They find it as an overdose. But then there's a lot more, like when it comes to the actual details of it. But the thing that most people do remember about Corey Richins is that after her husband died and right before she was arrested in his murder, she wrote a children's book that was about helping your kids through grief. And her story of the way she says it is that she needed something because she claims that there was nothing on the market for trying to help your kids get through the loss of a parent or losing people in general, which number one was not the case. But either way, it made it to like the charts on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, everything like that. She went on her local news station, was interviewed about it. And then I think it was like within a month, they ended up arresting her for his murder. There's been a lot of shenanigans in the courtroom since she's been in jail. There was also the aspect that she got into a physical fight with his sister. They were trying to buy this mansion near them, and there was just, yeah. She was getting the drugs delivered to the house in the fire pit and different things like that. She just recently was in the news because she was writing letters to her brother, right, T?
Yes.
Trying to get him to testify.
Walk the dog letters.
What?
They're called the walk the dog letters. So she was trying to get him to testify a certain way, is what the prosecution claims, but then the defense says, no, that's not true.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of things back and forth. She comes in and is crying the whole time, and yeah, I don't know. She's not. It's very interesting. I don't know.
So the defense is trying to stop all the letters that were found in her cell from going to court, and so I think they have until the 12th of January to file all their motions.
Yeah.
And this is not actually set yet, but they said it'll probably be in February or March of 2024.
Yeah.
For her preliminary hearing. Now, so just a weird side story. I'll tell you guys this. Are you guys familiar with MLMs?
Yep.
You want to send me something, but if you don't want me to email. Oh, yeah, okay. You can email me. It's criminality187@gmail.com. I'll put it in here for you. So when LuLaRoe was like a huge thing.
Yep.
The leggings.
Yep.
I got really into LuLaRoe. I loved their leggings, even though I didn't always wear them. So at the time, it was huge. Hi, Butterfly Kisses. There was the creators of LuLaRoe, like the family was like the big top dogs, but her best friend her name was Kim Roylance, and she was like top dog in like the MLM part. So she really did. I order from Sister Wives? No, I never ordered from Sister Wives. I had my own. And so that's actually okay. So that's a whole nother side story that I'll tell you in just a second. Actually, I'll tell you that one first because it's easier. So I knew of Shanann Watts because I was in her best friend's Facebook LuLaRoe group. I'd never interacted with Shanann Watts, but I had seen her in the Facebook group there's a lot of like contests and stuff that you do and things like that. And when you sell, you do it's like a train almost. Like if you join like these 50 groups and then you get your name put in and then you can win $500 and whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how I knew of Shanann Watts. I did not know her. I never spoke to her, nothing like that. But it was just a really weird coincidence when I got into the case. So anyway, so there was this lady named Kim Roylance who was like top tier. She ended up being she was the one making massive amounts of money. Kim and Doug were their names. So they were building this huge mansion, had like 8 bedrooms, 12 bathrooms. It was like their dream home. And it was a huge thing in LuLaRoe that everybody was talking about, like, you want to be like them. So you want to have all these people sign up under you because you want to have what these high up people have, right? Well, then LuLaRoe comes crashing down and somebody ends up actually passing away at this abandoned mansion. Well, can you guess what abandoned mansion Corey Richens was trying to buy?
Oh.
Was the one that belonged to the higher up people at LuLaRoe.
Interesting. She did buy it, by the way.
She bought it the day after he died. Yeah, she signed the papers.
Yep. She had the party. She had a party after he died, and that's where she ended up getting in the physical altercation with his sister, because she's like, you're not welcome here. And they're like, actually, he didn't leave anything to you. He
Yeah.
switched it. So actually, you have to leave our house.
Yeah. See you later.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Jamie, that's the mansion she bought, was the head people, not the owners of LuLaRoe, but the very top tier of the pyramid. Yeah. That they were buying with all their bonus checks, and it was being like, oh hey, yeah, everybody wants to be like them, so sell everything. So yeah, just a little side MLM story for you. And how, like, I swear, like, everything kind of comes back to like LuLaRoe. It's so funny. Like everybody knows LuLaRoe at the time. Okay, so Alexi Treviso. I think we're getting towards the end of the list here, so maybe we're gonna make it through. Alexi Treviso, if you guys aren't familiar, you know what? I don't know if I ever posted any of those videos. I have a lot of them though. Yeah, this girl who says that nobody knew she was pregnant, which I don't believe, goes into the hospital because she's got back pain, and then she's on camera going into the bathroom, and then how many hours later, Mal? Like, they find her newborn suffocated in the trash can of the bathroom.
Yeah, and it had been like changed. So she had taken the liner of the trash can out, put the baby in, and then put a new liner on top of the baby. Is what I believe.
Yeah. And it's caught on camera leaving the bathroom or running to the bathroom as she's holding like her butt, like, because the baby's coming out, but she doesn't want anybody to know that she's having a baby. And then her mom is in here, and all hell just breaks loose. She ends up getting out on bail and ends up in college, I think in Arizona or New Mexico. I don't remember Texas. I don't know, somewhere down there. Yeah, so she's like in college awaiting trial.
Oh.
Yeah, well, now with everybody getting banned for reused content, I don't know, I struggle with that. So maybe I'll have to just make a video if I ever can finish my Lila Cabot one. I have big hopes and dreams. Let me just tell you, I have so many things I want to do, and then I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, where the hell did the day go? It's gone. So she is set to go to trial on August 26, 2024.
Okay.
As I said, we're getting closer to the end.
Cassie Carly.
Oh, Cassie Carly.
That was a crazy one.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yep.
So this was a very confusing too, because it all happened in Florida, but he drove to Alabama?
No, I thought he drove up. I thought he drove to Tennessee.
No, hold on. I should probably remember this. How do I not remember this?
He might have drove and left her body in Alabama, but they found him in Tennessee.
Oh, maybe that's it. Cassie Carly found.
It was during the custody exchange for their daughter.
Yeah, Alabama.
And, it was at like a sketchy bar near the
Parking
water
lot.
in the parking lot,
Mhm.
and then no one heard from her.
Yeah.
I know JB Buno on WFLA Now, he covered this like day in and day out. Cassie was found on his property in Alabama. Okay.
A property that he worked on. A property he worked at.
Once again, please put a sign that says "It was me" on you.
Right. Well, then there was issues with it being in that they couldn't prove exactly where he killed her to find the jurisdiction to.
Right.
So they ended up doing like kidnapping charges is like one state, the murder is like another state, and then he's got federal kidnapping charges to make. So it was like crazy because he was set to go to trial, and then all the charges were like dropped. And we were like, what the heck? But then he was arrested for the Alabama charges. And so, yeah, he's got federal and state charges now for the murder of his ex. And I think he tried to say like like he dropped her off at like a Walmart or something, like halfway between wherever, and then like that, but she left her car at the other place. Like his story like did not make any sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
All right. So January, we should hear something going on with his federal and state charges. January 24th, 2024. I believe that might be, if I remember when I did this, it would be his trial in Florida.
Okay.
God damn shit, I don't remember now.
Ooh, I don't know, Shay. I would doubt it, but I don't maybe preliminaries, but not trials. No, I would. It would be very fast if Crystal Rogers' case for either of the people who were arrested for it went anywhere this year, at least.
Heartbreaking case. I live near Navarre, Florida, where she went missing from. Normally, they always met at Walmart for the exchange, but it was a last-minute change to meet in the parking lot. That's right. Let me see if I can figure out exactly which ones are which, because I don't remember off the top of my head what charges are where. I know that it's federal. Marcus Annabello. Charges. Let's see if that'll pull it up. We had the abuse of corpse. He's indicted by, okay, so he's got the Florida federal grand jury for kidnapping. He's got abuse of corpse in Alabama. And one of the biggest hindrances was they couldn't determine her cause of death.
Oh, that's right. Because then he said like she died, and I just didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I said something like that. No abuse resulting in Christ's death, but no. Okay, so yeah, so so it's federal. Florida federal courts have him for the kidnapping charge, and then the state charges are in Alabama for the abuse of corpse.
Right. Okay. This one I followed closely because it's not far from me.
Okay, go ahead.
The case of Lily Peters, I don't remember exactly where. It's in Wisconsin. It's where the Leinenkugel's brewery is. I know that much. But Lily was at her aunt's house and was just kind of hanging out with her cousins and stuff like that. They say that she biked home, which I think they said it was only like a 6.
It was like around the block almost. Yeah, it wouldn't have been very long. It was like you go straight and then you went around.
Yeah, and there was an even shorter way too, is if she would have gone on this trail. And so she goes missing. There's a bunch of people out searching for her. They do end up finding her body on the trail. She is essayed. And we then actually find out that based on different people that were on the trails that saw them, it was said that she was biking, and a lot of people saw her with another young kid who was on a, what was he on? He was on the hoverboard. And so then a lot of people were like, okay, what the heck? Who's this kid? Well, it ends up that it was her cousin. It was her cousin's house that she was at beforehand. He offered to walk her home. Ends up hitting her with
a stick.
A tree limb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first he says like, hey, I want to show you something deeper in the woods. Get off your bike. Come over here. Ends up hitting her with a stick. I believe when she's deceased, he essays her. If I remember correctly.
Yes.
And then he covers her up with branches and leaves and stuff like that. Goes home. Now, this one was interesting because we didn't actually find out that he walked her home until like a few days later, because the mom was lying about it to the public and everything like that. So it wasn't until a few days after even her body was found that people were like, holy shit, this was actually her cousin was seen walking her home.
Somebody posted on Reddit, actually. Somebody posted on Reddit and said, I saw her walking with another kid, and then they arrested him.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know that there's a lot of controversy surrounding this case because her cousin's father, his father.
You can say his name. They're charging him as an adult anyway.
Well, I can't. My computer's a lot smaller than your.
Oh, Carson Petersberger.
I don't know if she necessarily lied for him, Annie, or if she just was omitting the truth because she didn't accept the truth, or so on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not exactly sure the behind the scenes of that, whether like she knew it was him or she was in denial that it was him. But either way, she did not come forward, and she was talking somewhat publicly without coming forward about it. But Carson's father was in prison for child
Yeah,
porn?
CSAM. Yeah.
Yep, CSAM. So a lot of people are like, well, if this is what he, was used to around the house, maybe he was just curious, blah, blah, blah. He didn't mean to hurt her, all this stuff. And a lot of people were trying to utilize his father's charges as the reasoning for all of this. But his dad's been in jail for a long time, so I don't even know how that would work, but I don't know.
Yeah, so he was 14 and she was 10.
Yeah.
And so they're trying him as an adult, but his attorneys are trying to keep the case in juvenile court. That's been undecided, so there's no trial date set for him. He lured her out there, hit her with a stick, strangled her, and then he essayed her. Like, what is? I'm sorry, I didn't blame that on anybody you want to. I don't think so.
Right. There were no lights in the parking lot at the time. Oh, never mind.
What?
No, they were responding to Carly's case, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This one's very recent. I would be surprised if it actually ends up going to trial in mid-2024. It's what it was scheduled for, but you know how they always schedule the trial and then it ends up getting pushed out a whole bunch. If you guys remember, Athena Strand had gone missing from her driveway at her home, and
her family was crucified online too.
Oh, her stepmom, really, very much. Everybody thought it was the stepmom.
Yep. Yeah. But no, it was Tanner.
Yeah, so that was right before Christmas, and so I don't want to say it wrong, but I almost positive that the present that was being delivered was a FedEx driver. Yeah, the present that was being delivered was her Christmas present.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so it was right before, it was like the end of November of 2022, and so a lot of people thought, once we found out that he was like the FedEx driver, that he had accidentally like hit her and tried to just cover it up because it was an accident. He didn't want to lose his job. I can't talk about this case still. Aww. She's such a cutie pie.
You rule follower, you. Yeah, her Barbie present.
Yeah, that's what it was. I thought so. I wasn't sure though, but I remembered hearing that. But he had taken her. I don't know. Did they ever say if there was SA? Because I remember that the topic never being disclosed. I don't remember if it ever actually came out.
I swear the storyline that it ended up being was that he had potentially accidentally hit her with the truck, brought her into the truck, but then she ended up waking up while she was in the truck, and then he ended up killing her anyways because she was going to tell her family or something like that. Because
yeah, let me see.
They said something about because there are cameras that are put into delivery trucks, that this conversation could have potentially literally been on camera. No SA. Okay, yeah.
He told police that he accidentally hit her with the truck while backing up and panicked and put her in the van. That's what it was. Okay. And then he said that she was alive and talking to him, and then he ended up he said he tried to break her neck and he ended up strangling her. And then he dumped her, and I think it took it was about a week or so before they found her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I would be surprised if he doesn't take a plea. I mean, he's already confessed to doing it. That was in his paperwork as it was. So she was such a cutie. Her mom posts all the time about her. I just love the pictures that she posts about her. I post all kinds of memories, not just like with her. She posts memories of her and her sister. She posts memories of her and her dad, her and her step. She posts everything. She posts all of it. Okay. We've talked about this case a little bit. Sarah Boone put her boyfriend in a suitcase when they were playing hide and seek and recorded him as he's saying, Sarah, Sarah. And then she goes upstairs and says she passes out and doesn't realize that he dies while he's in the suitcase. She has gone through more attorneys than I think anybody else I've ever watched. I think she's on number 8 or 9 at this point. So her trial keeps getting a little postponed. At one point, one of the attorneys quit and said she should just represent herself because nobody's going to do it to her satisfaction. And there's a lot of alcohol abuse going on in this situation, in my opinion. As of right now, she has a hearing pending for January 16th of 2024, where they are said to be setting the trial date. So we should hear something more by then. Yes, Sarah Boone and her 74 lawyers. She's on her 8th attorney. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
In 2030. More like dare or dare. Yeah. I dare you to get in the suitcase. She's definitely interesting. Okay, let me see. Mrs. Troy! She said she's satisfied with her new attorney for now. Yeah, we'll see. You guys, I don't know if you guys will remember this one. Anon, no, hers is set for 2025, but she is on the list, but just towards the bottom because hers isn't set for a long time. So Camille Cupcake McKinney was actually, she was kidnapped at a birthday party, like she was outside playing with her cousins and whatnot, and she was kidnapped. A lot of people assume this is also a little bit of an older case. I want to say 2018, 2019. Let me look. October 12th of 2019. There's a lot to this story, and I don't want to take up too much more of your guys' time. But so she was taken by Derek Brown and Patrick Stallworth.
Were they related to her in any way?
No.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I ever saw anyway. I shouldn't just say no, but not that I'm aware of. No. They were taken. They took her for like their own enjoyment. Like they just wanted her to do whatever they wanted to do with her. She has stated that she watched the things that he did to her. They were indicted on federal kidnapping charges. They have already been found guilty of those charges. They are already in prison. So postponing the actual murder trial, they weren't too concerned with like pushing it out because it was pushed out a long ways because they wanted to take care of the federal kidnapping charges first. So their actual state murder trial is now going in March of 2024. But to no concern, they are locked up forever. They're done now. They're not coming out anyway. But I do believe the death penalty is still on the table, as this is Texas.
Okay.
I think it's, if I remember right, it's Texas, right? Hopefully it's Texas. Maybe it's Alabama. Might be Alabama. Shit, it's been a little while. I'll tell you. Hold on. Let me look it up.
I don't know if I ever heard of this case.
Alabama.
Okay.
Oh, she's such a cutie pie. She's so cute. So everybody called her Cupcake, but her name was Camille McKinney. But if you ever hear it, everybody referred to her as Cupcake. They did what they wanted to do, and they put her in the dump. And she ultimately ended up being found by somebody who was, I think, just walking. Let me see. Now that I have this article up. Describe the horrific and when he found them. Oh no! So it was the FBI agent who found Camille in a heap of trash at the Jefferson County landfill. Thought it was a doll, and he realized it wasn't a doll.
Oh.
Took a moment and thought about my own children. When I opened my eyes, I realized I was actually seeing a human body. Ruffin said that he and other investigators then stopped and raised their hand in a predetermined signal to notify that they had found something. So they were searching there already. It was involved 9/11, their federal kidnapping, both charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Birthday party, She was found 10 days after she went missing.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to skim this real quick just to make sure I'm giving you guys the biggest details that I can.
Okay. Get him.
You hear Ursa in the back?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is just what they say, and none of what they say is believable, so it's tough. They had given her trazodone and Benadryl. So the effects that had concluded methamphetamine and trazodone are part of the reason she died. Hey, Chelsea.
That's crazy.
Another one in Alabama. Did you say Kamari Holland? Yeah. So, like I said, they're not getting out anyway, so that's good. This is a case that if you guys aren't familiar with, Alex Erickson did a lot with this case. Decipher Podcast did a lot with this case. It was the case of Lyric Woods and Devin Clark. She was reported missing. It's out of North Carolina. She was reported missing, and then they found out that her boyfriend was also missing. It actually took quite a while to figure out who it was publicly that they were interested in, but looking back on it now, they actually had him in their sights. His name is Isaiah Ross. He was 17 at the time. He actually had picked them up. They were all in the vehicle, and something happened. Do you know more about that? You might know more about this case than I do, because neither one of them are here right now. But he actually,
are they the ones where they were found on the side of the road?
Yes. So Devin, I believe, had a gun, and there was some type of issue over this gun, but then they said that he was actually chasing them in the woods. She was shot 7 times, and he was shot 6 times.
Right, okay. I remember it happening, but I didn't necessarily dig too much into it, because I believe at the time when all this was happening, because not only were they minors, but they thought the person that did it was a minor. I know that it was really hard to get information when it was all first happening.
Well, because they were all minors.
Yeah.
So he's 18 now, and they're going to be charging him as an adult. So I think a lot more got released, because his got released. His autopsy results got released pretty quickly. Hers actually only got released in the last few months, I think.
Oh, wow.
Oh, thank you, Anon. I appreciate that. Yeah, he's being charged as an adult. He is 18 now anyway. I could not find any update on any hearings for him, though. But not really a very solid motive, because supposedly there was this fight over a gun, and that's how somebody got shot. But then they say that the evidence actually shows that the kids were running. There was neighbors that heard the gunshots at 2-ish in the morning. Like I said, Decipher Podcast and Alex Erickson have a lot on this case. If it's something that you're interested in, either one of those channels could help you get more info on that one. But I couldn't find anything updated on when they're going to trial. We're very close to the bottom.
So with Athena's case, this all started when a young girl walked out of a house up to the mailwoman, and said, "Can you help me find my sister? I'm hungry," something along those lines. And the mail person ends up walking her back to the house, finding that she was alone in the house, calling the police. The whole thing is very. This was a case that when the autopsy finally comes back after they do find Athena, I was shocked. And so neither of these are her parents. I'm still not exactly sure how she says her name, if it's Alicia, but she went by Allie online, like ALY, and Ivan, and they were given custody or
They were just handed the children, these two
Yeah.
girls. They were given them. I don't even think there was any custody about it. There was just here,
that's
take
why
care.
I kind of paused, because I'm like, well,
Yeah.
they were given physical custody, not through the courts. They were just kind of handed to them. Now they were what, cousins of?
She was her cousin, I think, if I remember
And
right.
then that
I
was,
can't remember
yeah.
everything, but
They
I
believe they
were
had
married.
4 children of
They
their
were
own, and
married.
they were married.
Right.
Yep.
Yep, they were married but split up, and he had taken his 4 kids to Arizona.
Yep.
And she was hanging out at her boyfriend's house. And then the 2 girls, well, one of the girls was left at the house alone. And so they arrested her for child endangerment for the other sister, Athena's older sister. And she said when she was arrested that he had killed Athena and buried her, essentially. So they went and arrested him in Arizona and extradited him back. Well, she says that on Christmas he basically he beat Athena to death.
Yep. And then it comes out a few months later via her autopsy that she died of pneumonia,
malnutrition,
not a beating. And now it's come out just more recently that there was actually no physical signs of trauma other than like the malnutrition and like what comes along with that. So there wasn't like a beating or anything. I know his charges have been, he originally was charged with 1st-degree murder. It got reduced to 2nd-degree murder. And then Alicia Allie, also her charges were moved up to 2nd-degree murder instead of just neglect or abandonment or whatever they were. And she also faces an obstruction of an officer because she provided false information claiming her husband beat Athena to death. The medical examiner's report did say that she was lying. There was no fatal trauma found on the child. She didn't have any broken bones or anything like that. And do you have the dates on that one?
I'll pull it up real quick. I don't know when they're going
I have it right here.
Oh, you
I
do?
have it right here. Yeah.
Okay.
So it says, oh wait, no, it says they are expected to be formally arraigned in February. But her
on the new charges.
Correct. But Athena Brownfield's biological mother, what is her name?
Jasmine, I want to say.
Yes. Yep. She was also arrested for child neglect in this case for just handing her children over. Her preliminary hearing is tomorrow.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
January 3rd for her Athena's biological mom. So
yeah, this one was full of twists. He had buried her supposedly or allegedly. He buried her on like an old property they lived at.
Yeah.
I don't even know what they're going to be able to prove if which one did anything. Christy,
I think it's going to end up being her because of Christy, because of his timeline. I think they're going to be able to potentially get a time of death for her, or at least a frame, and it's going to be a time when he was not around. So but that's just my thoughts.
I
not
remember
that any-
his extradition hearing. He was like, "Yeah, send me back. Let's go back right now. I'll go right now. Like, let's go. I want to go tell the truth. I want to go tell what's going on." So I was like, "That's also very interesting." Like, and how do they both end up just leaving the kids? Like, one of them isn't gonna like they're not gonna go two separate directions and both be like, "Yeah, let's just leave the kids here." I thought that was so weird. Or like the one girl, like how you're just gonna leave one girl? How are you like? I don't get it.
Well,
It
especially
seems
the
more
fact
feasible
that
one
you're
would.
gonna take the one. Yeah, you're gonna take the one if he's already taking the 4 other kids. So that's why I think he left with the 4 kids, and then she was just like, "Oh well, maybe he'll come back." Or they probably left at the same time and played chicken, and no one went back for her, thinking the other one did. Either way, pieces of shit. But like, I don't know.
Let me see if I can find.
You're you're good, Chrissy. We've been on for about 3.5 hours, so
3 hours and 10 minutes. I was going to
3
bed,
hours
but
and
apparently
14 minutes.
we're coming to the end of the list.
We are.
I mean, I hope that we see justice for all of this come this year. I don't know if we will. And if you guys that are in chat now, or if you guys that are watching on replay and you make it this far, if you guys have any other cases that you think should be on this list, let me know and I will add them so that we can keep track of, what's going on with each of them. I think most people are probably familiar with this.
Ugh.
Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie obviously are both deceased, but their parents are in court, which the reason I put this on here is because of the details that are going to end up coming out about what happened to Gabby Petito. As we know, Brian already admitted that he had killed her. He left her out in the middle of nowhere, essentially, and social media was a huge thing when it came to finding her. That another channel who was like a travel, like drove around in their van.
Red, White, and Bethune.
What was it?
Red, White, and Bethune.
Yeah, had seen the van, and then they went and searched that area, and they ultimately ended up finding Gabby. And Brian had already taken off to go back to Florida, and so Gabby's parents believe that Brian's parents knew exactly what had happened and kept it hidden. She was, I think they said that she died approximately the 28th or 29th of August, but she wasn't reported missing until September. I think it was my birthday, actually. September 11th is when they went to go talk to him. The family had taken like a camping trip at this time. Like the Laundrie family had gone out and gone camping with the sister. It was very bizarre. Then they are on a manhunt for Brian. They find Brian, who had killed himself, out in the, what do you call it? The park area.
Yeah.
I can't even think of what it is.
The reserve, the reservoir,
It was like a reserve.
Hang on.
Like a nature reserve. And so they ended up finding, and then his notebook, and then there was the funky letter that was written to Brian from Roberta, his mom. The cops were watching the house. Oh, it's just so crazy. The cops were watching the house, and the car he was driving returned, but it was actually Roberta who was driving it, and they thought it was Brian, so they thought he was there. He wasn't, and he was actually gone. They're also suing the attorney. Yeah, they're also suing the attorney that was involved because they believe that he knew what was going on and didn't tell anybody either. Yeah, the burn after reading letter. Hi, venue. Good to see you. Carlton Reserve. So he actually is going to be, there's a hearing coming up to say whether he has to say what he knew because of this whole attorney-client privilege type of thing. But they're fighting against that, essentially saying you can't have attorney-client privilege because you had all 3 of them on the phone at the same time. So it wouldn't be covered under that because, I don't know, whatever legality there was. So there's going to be a court hearing to determine whether Bertolino over here has to say what he knew or doesn't have to say what he knew. But the hearing, that hearing is coming up, I think, in the next couple of weeks. And then the actual case is going to be heard in May of 2024. I do feel sorry for her sister because she truly didn't think her parents could have known any. Oh yeah, she lost everybody, in my opinion. I do. I remember. Yeah, I felt bad for her too. And then she was the one that people were outside yelling at her house, and she's like, "My kids can hear you." Yeah, Dog the Bounty Hunter got involved, looking for Brian.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, domestic violence.
Yep.
Okay, so I have a couple more on here. They are not 2024, but and Megan Boswell, we probably won't even hear anything about her. Her trial was pushed out until February 3rd of 2025. She was arrested for killing her own daughter, Evelyn Boswell, and hiding her remains in the grandfather's shed, where she was ultimately found later. She also went on TV and begged and pleaded for somebody to return her kids. She really tried to point the finger at her mom, which was also very weird. I don't know how much. Do you guys remember this case? This one's gonna take a long time to go to trial.
Inside the in the shed, she was like upside down in a garbage can, right?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Terrible.
And then she did like when she went on TV, she was saying like that she passed a lie detector test. I think she was also trying to claim that she was pregnant at the time, but it came out that she wasn't. She was like a pathological liar. She like did interviews where she was sitting on the porch, just like, yeah, this is pre-Leilani, but very similar. Yes. She's such a cutie pie too. She just looks like a little Cabbage Patch Kid.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy.
Give me 1 second.
You're good. So February 2025. Yeah. Another one.
Another disturbing case. Yep. There's still a ton of people right here on YouTube that believe Brian Laundrie is still alive, hiking the Appalachian Trail, hiding out. Those same people think Koberger and R. Allen are innocent. Hi, Mandy. So we won't hear anything about that one for a while. And then I threw this one on at the end of the list too. If you guys, this is actually an older case, but more recently been in the headlines because Charlie Adelson over here was just convicted of conspiring to kill his brother-in-law, Dan Markell. And right after he was convicted, within, I think it was like a week, his mom was arrested trying to flee the country. She was arrested on charges of also conspiring to kill her son-in-law. Now, I do believe that we'll probably end up with one more added to this list, which I think would be the sister / daughter / wife, Wendy Adelson. So this will be interesting. This one's already done. The people who he hired to kill his brother-in-law have already been convicted. All 3 of them were in prison. He is now going to be in prison. There's a lot of phone calls. They're very crazy. A whole family basically conspiring to take out one member of the family that they no longer liked because he did not want his kids moved too far away from him, and she wanted her daughter and the grandkids to move closer to him or closer to her. So, did she call him a fucker? Did she call him a bastard? Did she call him a religious? If Wendy doesn't get your, I'll be furious. Yeah, that would be mom. The sister's next. They talked about the dad. I'm not sure the dad was overly involved. Hi, MySpace. I'm just browsing. I saw there's only 4 black people on there. It's going to be a cold summer. Better bundle up. Y'all going to have enough content coming. No shortage challenges coming this year. Oh. Well, I think there's not going to be a challenge of shortages, but I don't know what that has to do with the other part. So, and look at that. As of right now, that's the end of the list.
Oh, man.
I know.
That was good, though.
I know. We made it. We made it to the end of the list. It's just so much. There's so much that could be happening here in 2024. So many hearings, so many court cases, so much. I'll have to sit and timestamp it so that anybody who's interested in a particular section can come in and hear just that one. But just a lot coming up in 2024. Hopefully a lot of justice for a lot of these babies.
Yeah.
We got a lot accomplished. We did.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm going to go through the ones that you don't have dates on yet, and I'm going to see if I can find any dates.
Oh, that would be awesome. Back to replay. Aw, Christy. I love long legs. Thanks for covering all of these. Yeah, there's so many more. I mean, obviously, there's so many more cases that I don't. This is just what I try to keep up with. So I put on here what I try to keep up with. But we know that there's so many more cases out there, and if there is one that you think is important and to you or to the list or whatever, let me know. You can put it in the comment section below. But I need to thank my lovely co-host tonight of Malicious Intent. I cannot thank you enough for coming on here with me and going through. I did not realize, I don't think I really understood what I had asked you to do.
That was okay. I, haven't been on here in a long time. And I have my first live scheduled for Friday back after almost 2 months. So this was a nice dip my toes in the water until then. So thank you for having me. I had a good time. I'll always come up with you.
That Frosty just popped in. He said he's looking forward to the Keith D trial. I don't know how I don't have that on the list. We talked about that on your channel. I will add that, Frosty. I don't know why. I don't even know how I don't have that on here. I will absolutely put it on here, though. Yes, I am looking forward to that one as well. It was a great refresher. There's so many cases. So, all right. Thank you, my lovely Malicious Intent, and to you beautiful people in chat. I tell you all the time, there's not enough words to express how much I appreciate each and every single one of you. I know that you guys have 1,000 other places that you could be, and you choose to spend your time here hanging out with us and discussing some of the most horrendous stuff that in the world. And I appreciate you guys for taking your time and being here with us and talking. I will try to be back tomorrow. I don't know if I will make it because kids got an ortho appointment. But I'll do my best to be back tomorrow. If not, I will be back on Thursday. So I'll either see you tomorrow, I'll see you Thursday, and Friday over at Malicious Intents. Have a good one, you guys.
Bye.